show now, press 1.
Your show is scheduled to start in 36 seconds. Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's that time again. Yeah. Ya es la hora. You know, power hour. Ponle atención, class is in session. Tune in for an hour, maybe more, that's a blessing. Learn from the captains and the leadership. Flee from religion, cause them churches never teaching shit. Everything you learn for your benefit. Line upon line is a requisite. Never take a deficit, yeah. That mean you take a loss if you stray from the way. You get the understanding if you study every day. Apply what you learn and bless when you pray. There's one interpretation, man, it's saying what it say. Ya venía el tiempo, entra para el templo. Aprende del maestro con talento. La Biblia es el centro, usando a Israel como instrumento. No te pierdas en doctrina como viento. Estudia y ora y aplica. Tiempo para Dios, ven, hace una cita. Escritura dinamita, morenos y hispanos israelitas. Oye cómo explica Israel unido en Cristo para la vida, nunca se divida. Tune in, it's the power hour. Learn your family history, don't be a coward. Yeah. Tune in, it's the power hour. I said learn your family history, don't be a coward.
Your history to learn, it's the power hour. The 11th hour. Tune in to your history, you know it ain't no mystery. Power hour, the 11th hour. You gon' learn your true history, 11th hour. Power hour.
Shalom, shalom. Welcome to the Power Hour Plus. I am Deacon Joshua.
Officer Shia.
Officer Tobias.
All praise to the Most High. We back for another one. It's that time again.
That's
It's
right.
that time again.
It's that time again. We're just talking about the intro song. I think it's fire. Brothers was in the spirit. They put some respect on it.
Hey, the people like it.
All praise
The
to the
people
Most
like the
High.
song.
Yeah. We was cracking up here during the song. And one of the brothers said, Shalom, cabrones. I said, is he serious? Oh, man. Our people are funny, man. Look, people talking about the tango.
Tell you.
The tango. Oh, man. I know, that's, I remember I knew this Benjamite girl that I used to work with years back before the truth. She came in one day, like after the weekend. She's like, man, I was up in this club, and they had like a Spanish floor. I went up there, and they put on this merengue song, and I was like, oh. She said everybody started getting crazy. She was like, oh, what word is like that? Oh,
It's
snap.
provocative. It gets the people going.
It gets the people going. It's provocative.
I bet she had no idea, because Benjamin is crazy.
Yeah, man. She was like, what? All praises to the Most High. We back for another one. We will run a couple things back because I gotta.
You got a few stuff.
I don't know if I'll run it from the beginning.
Right.
But we'll run it back.
Let me remind you, because I was looking at some stuff that we didn't go through.
Oh, okay.
You got. I was looking at one of the videos you got. You got the one of Central America, South America, that it's pretty much abused. The third world country.
Yeah.
And then you got the history of Afro-Puerto Ricans by Home Time History. We haven't gone into that one. You got the Amos t-shirt, Amos 9/11 t-shirt.
Wow.
Israeli definition. I think we went over that. Judaism. And we ended off on Yahwism. We kind of stopped there a little.
We did stop there a little bit.
We went over this.
I posted new stuff today. What did I post today?
You posted Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle.
Oh, we gotta talk about that.
I watched the Sunday Night Live. It was actually pretty good.
But he's brilliant.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I mean his I think his comedy has matured.
Mm-hmm.
after the experience he had with the Chappelle show. And I was watching an interview a couple weeks back, a snippet from him. This wasn't the Oprah one. This was years later. And I don't know if it was an interview or a portion of another stand-up he did. And if you noticed, he doesn't really speak extremely derogatory about our own people anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And when he said more as the years went on, and basically, long story short, the reason he didn't say as much and he was so ambiguous when this whole thing happened, I think it was way back in like 2006 now when they say he went crazy and stuff like that. It's because contractually he couldn't say certain things or they'd have come after him.
Right.
But in this particular interview, he talks about how, you sign these contracts as a young kid, you're in the struggle.
Right.
And he was
I remember
saying,
that one.
and they have terms in there like they'll use your likeness and your name with perpetuity.
Right.
And he's like, I don't know what the hell perpetuity is. You see some millions of dollars there and, you signed a contract. And, he was going into how this is why he didn't like when his thing showed up on Netflix and HBO. And he was saying, like, they're not paying him for that.
Right.
Like, they're running it. They're making money off it. They're not paying. Anyway, within that, he talks about how, or maybe I'm crossing them. Maybe it's another one. He started to feel a way because, no, this was the Oprah one, where he says he was on set one day and it was one of the white writers, and he was doing a derogatory skit. And he said, and the dude was cracking up, right? And he said, and normally you want your laughs. He said, but this one just felt different. It sounded different.
Right.
Like it felt.
He wasn't laughing with them.
Right.
He was
And that's what he
laughing at
said. He was like laughing at. He wasn't really laughing at the skit, with the skit. He was laughing at the state of the people. So if you notice, his comedy has matured. He'll still say some rowdy things.
Yep.
But he does not emphasize the whole thing like he did on the show in those years, and even his early stand-up where it highlighted a lot of, I mean, it's unpleasant truths about our people, which is why it was funny for those of us who know what the hell he was talking about. But to see people who aren't privy to that and just laughing at it, it's just different. Like we're laughing at it because of the familiarity. They're laughing at it because it's like, yeah, look at these animals.
The reproach.
Right, the reproach.
Right.
And anyway, I say all that to say I saw the skit and they're gonna play snippets of it when we play the CNN clip.
Yep.
And I was just like, I was floored. I said, wow, he really did this in such a manner that I don't even see how anybody could say that that's anti-Semitic.
Right.
In comparison to the article that I'm going to show about the teacher that told some of his students that he's the white race is the superior race. Where's the anti-Semitism against us in that regard?
Right.
Where's our thing? I was talking with Officer Zara, and he had asked me on Saturday, and it was in my mind too. And I was like, the ADL was formed by Jewish people who wanted to really push this whole agenda and stamp out any type of dialogue or discussion on this whole thing. And I was like, wow, wouldn't it be something if we were able to fund something like that? And whenever somebody said anything derogatory about Israelites, we could come up and, put out the same type of attention to it.
Right.
Because that's essentially what they've done over the years. Like we saw in the clip last week where she says the anti-Semitism thing is a trick.
Right.
Yes.
Where when you don't like what's being said, you just shut it down, But we'll see snippets of the clip. Like I said, to me, Chappelle is brilliant. I think he's one of the greats of this time.
And how he started that one was so
The
perfect.
sarcasm was hilarious as he did that. I mean,
It was on point.
But the thing is, he did not really see anything that could be remotely seen
Not at all.
as offensive. He didn't say anything along the lines of like what Ye said.
Right.
He didn't say anything along the lines of what Kyrie was saying. And Kyrie really wasn't saying anything crazy.
No.
Right.
He even mentions it in the skit. He just posted a link. There was no caption. All he did
Right.
was post a link to the movie, and everybody
Right.
came down on it. So you have this thing going on there, but it's interesting. I think we'll just jump right in. We're gonna recap a little bit from last week because I want to bring out again the who's who, and because you got to show what the whole thing is about, because they do not want to have the discussion. And I think when we read the article from was it Daily Beast with Jon Stewart sticking up for him,
Yes.
he mentions about the whole thing of, the way to deal with it is not talk about it. And it seems like right away, just you can't touch it, you can't say it.
Right. What I got out of that was he said is like, yo, we look like punks. We look like punks because we can't deal with it. We can't. All we want to do is call out anti-Semitism right away. So it's good. Hopefully we go into it. We're gonna watch the video or just go over the. It's 40.
Let's watch the CNN video. We'll start with that.
Okay.
Start with that. It's only 6 minutes,
And
I
even-
don't think we'll see the whole. Maybe we won't see the whole thing.
Even
talk
Esau's
about it.
reaching. Like, watch it.
Hey,
like,
and let me
sheesh.
tell you, man. If the title of the show is The Great Awakening, and we're gonna go into the Amos, which I didn't last week. Part of that Great Awakening, and one of the things I've spoken about, when we did the recap trip, people were like, what was different? On my interview for the Hebrew Journal. And they were just saying, like, what's different now? What did you sense from Northern Kingdom? And like I said, I felt like there's a spirit of awakening, right? I've been saying that for like a couple weeks. And so this is why, the title of the show is great. I think Bishops went into that on Shout Out Tuesday as well. And there's a readiness to receive. The Most High is ready to give the increase right now. We just have to put the word out. And then you'll have people in here, I don't know if they got booted, talking about where's the mark?
The mark of the beast.
Yeah, laughing because it's sin and policy. They would say, but clearly you see all that. Like how deaf, dumb, and blind are you? That if anything, that shows that it's that. Right? When we show that clip about South America later. And he talks about how it's not that the countries are poor. It's the people that are poor because of the way they're treated based on policy.
Right.
We've gone over that with the Monroe Doctrine, the Banana Wars at great length. And you have all this in front of you with this anti-Semitism, and you're still talking about a chip? Do you see the power that they have in their censorship, in their cancel culture? And you're gonna be the moron on there talking about that,
Microchip.
and then you could tell. I was reading the comments during the week on last week's show, and people are talking about, oh, everything's about black or white. You obviously didn't watch the thing. You just saw the title and went through it.
Right.
Because the black and white was talking about that it's not that they want you to talk that way.
That it's not about being black or white.
It's not about being black or white. It's about who the Israelites are and who aren't.
Right.
And there's a difference in that.
Who's gonna stand up for God?
Right. But you want to talk about the color thing. Listen, if you're still talking and dealing with the way they want you to deal, you're light years behind.
You're at level 1.
You're at level 1.
And we're like
You're at level 1.
We're at level 144.
Because if you keep using those terms, what you're doing is you're perpetuating the lie, the crafty counsel of us being the hidden ones.
And you're hindering the repairing of the breach.
Yes.
We're trying to repair
Yes.
the breach in the nation. We're not focused on color. It's about spiritual growth and development.
Right. And bringing out the truth.
Right.
When you're talking in terms of black or white, you're speaking their dialogue and not the word. You're not letting they speak.
Damn. Woo. If you know, you know. Go to IUIC. No, I have to do it now. Go to IUIC Phoenix. We just recently pushed out a class.
Cold class.
It's a very good class for you brothers and sisters that need some spiritual, right? That spiritual slap to get your mind right. It's called Shh, Let Days God Speak.
Right.
Very good class that was done this past new moon, 2 new moons ago.
Yeah, it was 2 new moons ago.
IUIC Phoenix, very good class,
Yeah.
brothers and sisters. That's a self-examination class, good for all of us. All right.
All praise to the Most High. Yeah, maybe y'all could feature it after, like you do sometimes with certain classes and things like that.
Yeah, that was a good, bro. You like slid it in there.
I know, it just popped into my head.
That was a
Just-
good one.
Let days speak. All right, let's jump in, because we're not gonna get through everything today because that's the nature of our show.
That happens. I'm just saying.
That's why it's called the Power Hour, because it's a lot of stuff that's coming out and we can never really finish.
Right. Bro, they tried to
Hey.
take the power hour, the hour of power.
Oh, I
on
know.
Club.
You saw that?
What
You
is
saw
this?
that on Clubhouse?
Bro, they watching.
We'll talk about that
So,
at the end, towards the end.
I
They
mean, I just
they
gotta
s-
throw it in real quick. That you
No,
know,
at the end.
Okay,
We'll go
okay.
over it at the end.
Okay.
All right.
I got you.
You see, they trying to rob us.
Yeah.
Trying to rob
What
us.
is this?
All right, man, let's jump into this because the Chappelle thing happened this weekend. I didn't have this as material for last week, but it still ties into what's going on.
Yes.
And plus, he's freaking hilarious. Good.
Comedian Dave Chappelle talking about Kanye, or Ye's, anti-Semitic comments and about NBA star Kyrie Irving's actions.
Yeah, he used his guest monologue on Saturday Night Live to give his take on all the social media
Stop.
blowback.
Stop. So the other thing that's coming out now is that everybody was, and I don't know how true it is. Maybe it is because it sounds like something he would do. That they were like, why would Saturday Night Live let him do that monologue when they do rehearsals? You know?
Oh.
And they were saying he did a different monologue. And then when he went out there because it's live, it's called Saturday Night Live because it's live.
Right.
Wow.
So they can't really cut away.
He used wisdom.
I was thinking this was like, they go.
No, it's live. There's like they have like that 10-second delay or whatever in case
Okay.
anything real crazy happens. But they didn't cut them because they
Right.
would have lost their whole show.
Yeah.
So, and then it's at 11:30 at night, East Coast time. So they was like, I'm sure there was no executives up watching it. They were all doing their own thing.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah,
dang.
yeah. But go ahead, man.
Ended up getting some backlash of his own. Here's a sample of what he said.
Early in my career, I learned that there are two words in the English language that you should never say together in sequence. And those words are the and juice.
Stop. That was brilliant.
Right.
Because as soon as you say that, the algorithm. I could not name the show what we wanted to name it today
Really?
Yeah.
because the algorithms. It says the Israelites are standing up.
Yes.
He said the and the Jews you don't say together. It was gonna say the Jews are standing up. Look now I probably triggered something right now. It picked that up. They got algorithms that cut that thing out. And the funny thing is, I don't know if you noticed the subtlety of what he said. Not only did he bring that to your attention, he said, I learned that early in my career, meaning that it's a thing in show business.
Ooh.
But he did not say those words in sequence, even in his joke. He said the and Jews. He said there's two words you don't say in sequence. But this is how I say he's so brilliant, like in his comedy. Like,
Right.
it's little subtle things that he does. Anyway, go ahead.
Heard someone do good after they said that. I've been in Hollywood. This was just what I saw.
There's another great one.
It's a lot of juice. Like a lot. But that didn't mean anything. You know what I mean?
Stop. Before we go on. He said that's the other thing he saw in Hollywood.
Right.
They get mad when you tell them that they run everything.
Uh-huh.
And he says, look, it's a lot of Jews.
It's the fact.
It's a lot. I don't see how that's anti-Semitic.
Right. Even with the comparison he gives right afterwards. Like,
Right.
it's stating the fact.
Right. It's a lot.
Right.
Like a lot. Run it back just a few. Oh, snap.
Like a lot. But that didn't mean anything. You know what I mean? There's a lot of black people in Ferguson, Missouri. Doesn't even run the place. I know the Jewish people have been through terrible things all over the world.
Stop. They didn't show that part. He says there's I think somebody put it in the comments, and I agree. I think it was a
Yes.
sis. I thought that was brilliant.
If
also,
it's black, it's a gang. If it's that one.
right.
If
right.
if it's black, it's a gang.
Uh-huh.
If it's Italian, it's a mob.
Uh-huh.
If it's Jewish, it's just a coincidence.
It's just a coincidence. Yep.
And no one can ever speak of it.
Yep. He said, and no one can ever speak of it. And that's the thing when we do the Jon Stewart article that you're going to see that's in there. All right. But okay, keep playing it because I want you to hear the comedian and the hypocrisy of this comedian, right? Go ahead.
Doesn't even run the place. I know the Jewish people have been through terrible things all over the world, but you can't blame that on black Americans. You
Stop.
just-
So they try to say that you know, the person who speaks, she'll say, you know, it's not like anybody blames it on black Americans. But when you take the type of action that you're taking against these black celebrities, against all of us who are trying to bring to light the truth, we went over the Semitic chart last week. All right. You are blaming it on them. You are blaming it on us. You are. All right. But go ahead. Keep playing it.
You just can't.
Judy Gold is a comedian and friend of Dave Chappelle. She's also the author of Yes, I Can Say That. When they come for the comedians, we are all in trouble.
Stop. Listen to the hypocrisy that's going to come out of her mouth. Right. They promote her book. Yes. The title of her book is Yes, I Can Say That. When they come for the comedians, we are all in trouble. And they're trying to come for Chappelle now. Right. Okay? Go ahead.
Here with us. Judy, good to have you.
Thank you for having me.
So you saw the monologue. That was probably half of the 15-minute monologue.
Right.
What did you think?
You know, I laughed at a lot of the stuff. I know Dave. I love Dave. And some of it made me feel uncomfortable. You know, I feel one way as a comedian. I feel another way as a Jew. And it's a tough time for us. And I think the last thing you showed was when he said you can't blame a black person for the Holocaust. Yeah. And it didn't get a response because no one ever has blamed black people for the Holocaust.
Stop. This is where I say it's the hypocrisy.
Right.
When you make statements that it's anti-Semitic to even approach the topic, that there's the remote possibility that it is true. That there's a lot of them that run things. That there have been people of their own ilk, like the video we showed with the former prime minister. What's that show called? Democracy Now. That clip from Democracy Now that we showed this week. Who admits that it's true, the whole anti-Semitism thing. The fallacy to point out that, because it's true historically, Semites, we showed it on the chart, is many races that are in the earth today. So why is it exclusively a Jew thing, a Jewish thing, for you to come up with that sort of thing and block it automatically? And the way that they're going after, because they don't go after white people for the stuff that they do. In this regard, they can say, he said this in one of his comedies one time. He said, but he was saying it about the LGBT, because as we just heard, you can't say the and Jews together, right? But I'm sure that was a conversation he had as well. Those type of skits probably got shut down. And I'm sure he wanted to do some. And they said you can't say, like, I think, fag or whatever or anything else like that, right? And he said, wait a second, let me just understand something. This was one of his other shows. He said, I can say nigga with impunity, but I can't say these other terms. Damn. And they were like, yeah. And that's not anti-Semitic?
Right. Hey, D, there was a comedian, an Edomite comedian. I can't remember his name, but he used the word fag. He used the C word for the lady parts, and he used nigger in his stand-up.
Is that the white dude that talks real crazy with the bald head?
Yeah.
I don't really find him that funny. I just think he's real foul-mouthed. I forgot his name.
No, I mean, he's very foul-mouthed. He's not funny at all, but he used all of those derogatory terms, but no recourse.
Someone said, is she right? It is a tough time for them. The Most High getting ready to come on.
That's right.
And they know it. Yeah, you're right about that. But anyway, go ahead. Let's continue to play this.
I think there's comparing atrocities is not a good. I don't think it's a helpful dialogue to have. But everyone is talking about this now.
Who's comparing
and Jews are in a really scary place. And you think about Kanye and you think about Ye and you think about Kyrie.
Yeah. Right. That's something.
That's that playing victim.
Oh man, did I post the other clip from the show with the? No, I didn't. Go ahead, or if you guys want to talk, go ahead, keep playing it.
In that video that with the older lady that was Amalek, and she said every time they do this, it's they claim anti-Semitic. That's them playing victim, crying victim, right? That's literally what she's doing right here.
He never sent it to me, man. Captain Severus, man, shame on you, bro. You read it too. You posted something in a TikTok today. I told you to send it to me from this morning at 9:04 a.m. You read it, you saw my post, and you still ain't send it to me. Oh my goodness. And then I can't screen record or move it from there because of the settings that we have. Oh my goodness. Let me see. Amin's thoughts. See if you can search for it. Amin's thoughts on Dave Chappelle's monologue. AMINN. See if you find it on TikTok or something like that. Go ahead, play it. Keep playing it.
Go ahead. I'll look
Go
for
ahead.
it.
You think about their reach. They have more followers than there are Jews in the world. We are 2% of the population of the United States.
Stop. Get me that scripture where it talks about the sand of the sea. Because that's another thing that shows you that they not them. Right. She said they 2% of the population. Where in the prophecy did it say that you would remain few in number? It don't say that.
Obadiah.
It don't say that they would.
Remain.
Israel.
Okay.
I'm talking about Israel, that they would remain few in number.
That's against the promises.
That's against the promises. That goes to show you that that's not them. Go ahead.
The book of Hosea, chapter 1 and verse 10. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea.
But she's saying that they're only 2%.
Right.
So it's like she's telling on herself right now, just in their damn speech that they're talking about. All right? It says that we would be as the sand of the sea. As the sand of the sea. There was another one. Hold on.
Rest?
Yeah, go ahead. Keep reading it.
Which cannot be measured nor numbered.
Which cannot be measured or numbered. All right? Drop that. Let me get Deuteronomy 10:22. That's the one that I want. Because we increased is what the scripture told us. When God said he set his love upon us, it says we increased, all right? Deuteronomy 10 and 22.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 10 and verse 22. Thy fathers went down into Egypt with 70 persons.
Right, so with 70 persons, so that means 70, right? It says we went down into Egypt 70. After that, we increased to what? To this point, go ahead.
And now the Lord thy God hath made thee as the stars of heaven for a multitude.
So Hosea says that we were as the sand of the sea. Deuteronomy 10 says as the stars of heaven. And she over here talking about, and then people don't want to, and that's what the Bible says.
Right.
It's not hard to identify who the people of the book are in these last days. It really isn't. Come on, go ahead. Run it back just a few seconds.
You think about
Stop.
their
Someone
reach.
said they are incapable of covering all those lies. You're right. It's too many now.
Right.
And with the way the information's flowing, the way the Most High is letting this thing get revealed, he used the mouth of those celebrities to bring that thing to more people's attention. I'm seeing people who would never have even thought to give us any credence because of the anti-Semitic defaming that they do to us by saying we're hate groups and extremists and all of that, that they wouldn't give us the mind today that are starting to take a second look because of something like that. So they can't hide the lies. They can't. We brought it out when we brought out the who's who of who they are today, who they descend from really.
Right,
all right? Go ahead.
They have more followers than there are Jews in the world. We are 2% of the population of the United States, and we're 0.2% of the population in the entire
And that's
world.
not what the Bible says, so that's another sign that they not them. All right, go ahead.
When you are sending a link about a movie that denies the Holocaust, it's not really a careful or thought out thing to do, especially when there's so few of us. And I would never send I don't have that many followers, but maybe after today, but I would never ever send a link denying that slavery ever happened.
Well, that's the point. I feel like, Judy, that's the distinction that Dave Chappelle, who is so charismatic. I will watch him read the telephone book. He's so charismatic. He has such a winning, I think, delivery.
Brother look like he uncomfortable.
Yeah, this brother looks like real uncomfortable. Like,
no, look at the way he holding that pen, bro. He about to break it. That's his lifeline right there, boy. That thing is keeping him in check.
Go back a little bit. Look at him. He's just like, I got to deal with this.
Send a link denying that slavery ever happened.
Well, that's the
Stop,
point.
but they do at every turn.
Right.
When it comes to the Holocaust, never forget, when it comes to slavery, that was so long ago.
They're trying to stop.
Why are you still harping on that?
Oh, and she's going to say something heavy about the school systems and stuff.
Yep.
I feel like, Judy, that's the distinction that Dave Chappelle, who is so charismatic. I mean, I will watch him read the telephone book. He's so charismatic. He has such a winning, I think, delivery at all times. However, he is being a little disingenuous there because nobody is blaming black Americans for the Holocaust, but they are blaming black athletes and black artists for perpetuating anti-Semitic tropes. That's what they were blaming them for. So he fudged that a little bit.
So yes, that didn't make sense to me. And people go to Dave to get his perspective, and that's his perspective. And as a comedian, I believe he can say whatever he wants. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to laugh at it.
You think he can say anything he wants? I mean, isn't there a line?
There is a line, but you decide. The audience decides. You know, George Carlin famously said, it's the comedian's job to cross the line, find it, cross it, and make the audience glad that you did. And you think about other comedians who've been jailed. Lenny Bruce, a Jew who was jailed, and they got him on cursing, but it was really that he was talking about segregation and the Vietnam War and things the government didn't truths. You know, you speak truth to power.
So stop, right? And that's what's being done now. Right. That's what you do when you see like the Bible calls the foolishness of preaching. You have these celebrities that just brought an awareness to something and say, hey, the people who you hold in this esteem that say they are Jews and are not, okay? He goes, I'm letting you know who they really are because I've discovered that. And I have a platform of millions, and I'm going to put this out there. And so you see the hypocrisy. That's what I'm saying. Her whole interview was just hypocritical.
Back and forth. She's double-minded the whole time.
That's another damage control of okay, let's get a Jewish comedian to talk about. But her book is so hypocritical as well.
If it was anti-Semitic to say they're not the Jews and blacks are Jews, and Kyrie never said they're not. Kyrie, I believe, just said he knows who he is.
Right.
And that he's...
And he never even mentioned
nothing. No.
He said, I just know where I come from.
Just the movie. Right. And the movie basically says Hebrews to Negroes, right? So, right? And so how is this then anti-Semitism what Chappelle did? When it's so much milder than what... in comparison, because it wasn't so direct. He didn't go on record to say anything in regards to...
It's because he wasn't condemning them like they wanted him to do, like with Shaquille O'Neal and what they did. He's not condemning them for what they did.
Right.
And you noticed earlier she was talking about the slavery and all of that. But they're trying to remove slavery from schooling. But then you'll notice what she's about to say towards the end of this interview.
Go ahead, keep going.
It's the greatest comedy of all. You know, and I think it has to be based in the truth. But this is Dave's perspective, and people look up to him.
Stop.
And
Look at that lower third. It says backlash for comments about the Jewish community. He said there was a lot of them in Hollywood.
That's it.
He said you can't say the and Jews together, and it's true because as soon as you say that, there's an issue. Obviously, look at what's going on now because of that, right? And he said that he pointed out the stereotypes. If it's a bunch of black people, it's a gang. If it's a bunch of Italians, it's the mob. And if it's a bunch of Jewish people, it's a coincidence. He spoke truths. Truth to power, like she said.
Right.
Where was that any of that anti-Semitic?
He crossed the line that they don't want him to cross.
Right. That's exactly it. That's the one that they don't want him to cross. Go ahead.
he really is a really nice guy. I don't, some of the stuff did make me feel uncomfortable.
We were talking during the break about the tweet from Jonathan Greenblatt, the head of the Anti-Defamation League, where he tweeted, I'll read just a line here, why are Jewish sensitivities denied or diminished at almost every turn? We talk a lot about these issues, as we should.
Right.
But do you see that Jewish sensitivities are denied or diminished at every turn?
I don't think at every turn. I think he's being specific about comedy and laughing at something that is not really based in reality or the truth. So, yeah, I hear people always, oh, yeah, I saw the movie. Oh, yeah, she had to give her kid away. It was sad. But then there's so many people. I mean, the Holocaust ended 17 years before I was born. That's not a long time ago. And yet people know nothing. It's not taught in school.
Stop. That is a lie.
Yo.
Bishop was talking about that what Helen Keller, Diary of Anne Frank. Bro, I'm going to tell you something. I remember, I think it was junior English in high school. Right? I was very into English class. I used to love to write. I don't really write anymore. I used to love to write. And I've always loved to read. And they made me read Night by Eli Wiesel.
I was just going to bring that up. Night.
And man, that book had me like, it's suspenseful. The way my dude was like in enemy territory trying to get away and all this other stuff. Man, I wish I still had the paper. I didn't keep none of that stuff from high school. I wrote because I would laugh at it now. I wrote a moving and compelling. I got like an A++. He like wrote all types of stuff on it because I wrote like a commentary on the book. They make you read this stuff.
Yes.
They make you.
Yes.
It is taught.
Every single year.
But yet there is a movement now by the government and politicians to not teach it anymore when it comes to us.
Right.
The 1916.
And then she talk about don't compare traumas.
Right.
Oh, my goodness.
Hey, D, I had to read Night and The Boy in Striped Pajamas.
Oh, my
And
goodness.
my teacher was Amulet.
Damn.
Oh, my goodness. Bro, just lies all over the place, right? Anyway, she's just trying to get some followers for her comedy. Go ahead.
I'm sure she is.
And we see what happens when things are not taught in schools.
Yeah.
Like, Tulsa, Oklahoma. I wish that someone had taught me that when I was growing up,
And what would that have changed?
It's
Nothing.
about...
Stop. Like, what would that have changed?
Right.
Would that have changed when they put crack into communities in the 80s?
Right.
Right?
Damn.
Flint, Michigan.
Would that have changed Flint, Michigan? They keep doing it. Would that have changed the Tuskegee experiments, which came after Tulsa, Oklahoma? None of it's changed anything. The experiments they did in Puerto Rico and war against all Puerto Ricans.
Right.
Would that have changed any of those things?
Hey, there's someone that says, we know about Anne Frank, but not about Black Panthers. That's true too.
Right.
We know nothing about Black Panthers or what's his name? Black Panthers, the leader.
Who?
What's his name? They made a
Talking
movie
about Fred Hampton.
Fred Hampton. And what the good things he was doing for the community at 19 years old, bro. 19, 20, something like that.
Wow. Yeah, my wife just told me. So my wife came here when she was like, I think 15 or something like that. She came from Dominican Republic. She just sent me a text. She said in the early 2000s, even in her ESL class, that's English as a second language.
Yes.
She said I had to learn about the Holocaust and Anne Frank.
Oh, wow. That's that reprogramming.
Huey P. Newton.
Hell no. She went through sensitivity training early.
I don't remember that, but damn.
Yep.
I had
You did ESL?
Yeah, I had ESL. Yeah.
Spanish is your first language?
Yeah, but they still gave it to me. I don't know why.
You speak English so well.
Sí, porque yo soy...
Anyway, go ahead. Play it. Let's finish that up so we can move to the next one.
Me that when I was growing up, It's about basing all your comedy in truth and doing your due diligence and realizing, Dave, he's funny, he's a great guy, but he's got a lot of ears, and
But did he miss the mark here?
I think he missed it a little bit at the end, but I laughed at a lot of it,
Yeah, I understand. It can be both those things.
Right.
Judy, thanks for coming in. Great to
Oh
get
my
your
God, thank
perspective.
you so much for having
Yo,
me.
my man played it safe, boy. He said, man, I went to college for mad years to be in a broadcasting. He said, I am not screwing this up.
He said, thank you. Thank you for being here. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Bro, let me tell you something. Reporters are supposed to be objective, all right? They're supposed to be objective, right? Not subjective. And he just did a perfect example of just not showing one opinion or the other. He just...
When they were talking about slavery, he was just looking back and forth at them.
I
From
know,
one Edomite to another.
If you look at his hand, he was holding that pen. He was like, oh, my gosh, I want this segment to end. He was like, I want this segment. Damn, my wife said she cried. Hey, bro.
Yo,
they would get you with that. They would get you with that stuff. I cried when I read Night by Eli Wiesel. I freaking cried when I saw The Pianist.
I cried with the Schindler's List.
I never saw Schindler's List. I saw The Pianist. That thing had me with Adrian Brody. That thing had me like, yeah, bro.
Oh. bro.
They get you.
Yo, they get you. They're the damn devil, bro.
Until you see your trauma. They put their own trauma in front of you all the time.
Hey,
those things become award-winning, Oscar-winning freaking movies.
Yes.
Right? Must-sees of the year, riveting, compelling, all the freaking adjectives that they use for that stuff. And then you have something like 12 Years a Slave or the Nat Turner film. And if it wasn't for our community keeping those things in our forefront in my minds, those things would freaking go to the wayside.
It's in the past. Why are you bringing it up?
Hey, D, I can remember my Amalek teacher.
Someone said Schindler's List got me, bro.
I was reading that too.
Bro, I think we got trauma from the sensitivity training that they try to give us with those freaking things, man. Go ahead. What would you say? What would you say, Soldier?
I was just saying, I remember my Amalek teacher in 7th grade when he brought up the book Night and the Boy in the Striped Pajamas. First day of school, he immediately said, if there's any slander against where I come from, I will see to it that you get expelled.
Wow.
He's telling 7th grade students that. I'm like, we're not thinking nothing of it.
Wow.
And it's at an all-black school.
Damn.
Hey, get me that. Is it 2nd Ezra's 5, 70-something about popular persuasions and secret plots? Because that also goes with Psalms 83. That goes with Psalms 2, right? You know, he has very few Northern Kingdom colonial movies. And the ones that they do have, which are excellent in as far as the content, they don't have big budgets. They're like straight to DVD, obscure things that you got to look for, right?
Yes.
Like, is it The Canary Effect? That's a good one, but they do them documentary style. The End of Poverty, right? So they'll do them as documentaries, but they won't really dramatize them. Even in something like Apocalypto, which is by itself a great movie, you don't see the Apocalypto should have a sequel because it ends with him looking at the ships coming.
Yes.
But they don't do those movies like that.
Conquering.
You know, I'm waiting. I mean, because at the very least, Southern Kingdom has had several in regards to the transatlantic slave trade.
Right.
I'm waiting to see some Northern Kingdom flicks that show what the conquistadors did here. There's a lot of material. Someone should just take Bartolome de las Casas and write a script off of that. All right. I'm waiting to see how they always show you Pocahontas and the Pilgrims coming and being this, that. The closest thing I've seen to Northern Kingdom, and it wasn't so-called Latinos, is, it was a series. I have it on DVD. Oh, man, I used to talk about it often. Into the West. Into the West. And but it's mixed with Esau. So they highlight families. So they highlight indigenous families and how the arrival of the colonizers affected the landscape of how things were here and how it changed over time. And they did it as a series. I think it was an excellent series, but they also try to position Esau so that you could feel a certain way with them, like that some of them were compassionate, not all of them were like that.
Like they always do.
But it shows you the Indian schools. It shows you how they got us hooked on whiskey. It shows you how we used to rebel against them. But then eventually how they killed all the buffalo. How they got us on the rancid meat program. How they made us dependent on them. The first welfare recipients, as far as our people, was Gad.
Right.
Wow.
Because they put them on government subsidies as they kept moving them away from their land. And when you look at that series Into the West, I probably need to run it back and watch that now that I've been in the truth longer. And maybe there's more things I can see from it.
Which
and maybe
one?
highlight Into the West. It's called.
Okay.
I have all the DVDs. They show what I always loved is at the beginning because it would like time jump after a certain amount of episodes. They showed the map of the United States. And in the very first episodes, or like the first season, they always showed the United States, and it was broken up with all the names of the tribes of Gad and Reuben. And then as they came and they went further into the West under that Manifest Destiny, guys, you saw how the Indian territories became reservations, how they got pushed further and further west. They even show Issachar and how they were afraid to go into California at one point because Issachar had the army and stuff there, and they didn't want them there.
Right.
Like they would kill the white man when he would go over there.
Right.
Because they said he's gonna bring the reputation preceded them of what they brought with them.
Right.
And eventually they spared some, and they wound up coming back with the gold rush and everything, and they wound up doing Issachar dirty too. But it was interesting when you saw the map for each season, and it kind of highlighted how they basically took over this whole place and the land grab, and they eventually they wound up pushing Gad all the way into Oklahoma. You see how that was before it was called Oklahoma. It was called the Indian Territory. Shows the Trail of Tears. That's where they marched them to, and then at the end they even took that from them, and then they put them on those reservations. And then that same concept is what became the housing projects in a lot of these major cities as well, because they'll tell you that the housing projects was a good thing and it was supposed to be for all people of a certain income. Remember, if any of their people get mixed in it, that's just so that the illusion that they put forth can be seen there and say, oh, well, look, there's a handful of us that,
It's not just you.
Yeah, it's not just you, right? But by and large, who are the ones that go through that stuff? But solid point. There's not a lot of stuff that in film that shows that. But there's plenty for the Holocaust. There's plenty for those type of things. And they're here talking about freaking
we don't learn that.
We don't learn that stuff, and
I would like to learn about
which is interesting because some of what John Stewart says in this article, all right, kind of speaks to that a little bit, right? And he's like a liberal guy, I think, John Stewart, and we know what the Bible says about liberals, but no, we're not gonna watch it because I don't know how long it is. We'll just read it instead.
It's a little long, yeah.
Yeah. So go ahead, read it from the top.
Did you still want that First Ezra 5?
Oh, I do. I'm sorry.
First
Yes,
Ezra
let's get that.
5:73.
First Ezra 5. Get that because, again, this goes into the whole agenda that they have there. So, there's multiple facets to this, but one of the main things is this like sensitivity training. They're mandating that Kyrie go to sensitivity training. They indoctrinate us with sensitivity training. I mean, look, my wife said from ESL, we got that all throughout school. Right. And they're doing that to begin with. This is why you have a lot of our people in that coon mind state that are there actually defending this nonsense.
Right.
Because that's been fed to them since they went through the school system, which is an agent of socialization. And part of the socialization process, not just in America and in the world, is don't say the and the Jews together. Right? So go ahead, read this real quick.
The book of First Ezra, chapter 5 and verse 73. And by their secret plots and popular persuasions and commotions,
Now, the secret plots goes into what you read in Psalms 83. Psalms 2 about, how they rage. And the crafty counsel that they took. And the secret plot was we need a multi-pronged, multifaceted approach to not only deny who the Israelites are and erase their existence. And that goes under iconoclasm. That goes under taking the Bible and, teaching it in a manner when we couldn't read or understand the languages that it was written in, that they teach us a certain way. And then we, in turn, will do that to the next generation and next generation, and it becomes something of a custom to go with that stuff. That goes into so the secret plot was to not only hide us, but hide who they really are.
Right.
And allow themselves to take on different identities.
If not where and who is he?
Right, right. Go ahead, come on.
And by their secret plots and popular persuasions and commotions, they hindered the finishing of the building all the time that King Cyrus lived.
Right, and here it was the physical building that they were hindering. Now they're trying to stop the building of a nation. This is why the scripture says our warfare is spiritual, not carnal. Right? We're trying to build up the people, not the city, because the city's already prepared that we're going to get.
Right.
One that will never be destroyed, all right? That's that kingdom that's prepared. So the Most High took the whole arduous task of us having to actually fight and conquer and build away physically, build a city and build a fortress, and now it's simplified in the sense simple, but yet difficult because of the number that's on our people, because of the pleasures of sin that we love. And we just need to build ourselves and our nation now. And once you do that, we don't have to build anything because he's going to give us what's already prepared for us.
Right.
Right, go ahead, read that again.
And by their secret plots and popular persuasions and commotions, they hindered the finishing of the building all the time that King Cyrus
And that's what
lived.
they're trying to do now. They're trying to hindering the rising, all right? They're trying to hinder the Great Awakening. But it's begun. And there's nothing that they can do to put it back in the bottle. Right? All those cliches. You can't put the genie back in the bottle.
Right.
Pandora's box is open.
That's it.
Bro, I'm telling you, with Ye coming out and saying that, and then right behind that, the timing of that Kyrie posted things in the movie.
Real quick, it was just.
And it's like it was simmering for a while, right? Because Cube says something. Yes. Amari, we thought was going to be with it. You had Kendrick that was coming with some stuff, right? There was little things here and there the whole time.
Yes.
And then the whole lid just blew off with Ye. Most High said, that's the one.
Right. He said
that's the one.
Those
billionaire.
Those contractions, they're starting to get a lot more quick now.
Yes. So that secret plots, those popular persuasions, that also is the movies. That's the agenda. That's the anti-Semitism that you shut it down. We got to run that clip back with the former prime minister too, from Democracy Now. Just have it ready. That's all part of those popular, because the popular persuasion is what? Everybody's saying, oh yeah, accept all people.
Right.
Anti-Semitic. Listen, if there's one thing that is extremely, I mean, in general, sin is contrary to what the Most High wants. Mm-hmm. But to say that all people are equal, all people should be on the same page and this, that, and the other, like they push, all right? That is so against God in the Bible.
Right.
And it is against their Torah. It is against the stuff that they're trying to push out to, because their Torah talks about goyim and, mamzers and all this other stuff. All right, it goes into all that stuff. That's what I didn't bring out. I had the little sheet, which I never laminated. I gotta maybe scan it to preserve it. That talks about it highlights the different things in the Torah that's hypocritical, but nobody ever comes after them. On the things that they're allowed to do about the other nations. Yeah, the Talmud. That's what I meant, because that's what they hold in more esteem.
Yes.
Right. That's what they hold in more esteem. Yeah, but don't play it yet. Don't play it yet.
Something about that Talmud.
Actually, yeah, you might as well, because it goes with the script. But go ahead. What were you gonna say, officer?
I was watching a video on TikTok about this Amalek. This guy is talking about, yeah, you know what? We do have a lot of businesses, and we hold certain things up to standard, and never lie in business, and be true, and don't hold back wages and things of that nature. And I'm like, that's a damn lie. In the Talmud, it tells you can lie to heathens, you can hold back wages, things of that nature.
You can steal.
You can steal. Right. All these things. And
hey, and as you're talking, I'm thinking about it. It's supposedly their morals and their ethics, and I'm just thinking they're wicked. Get Job 9:24. She said that they're 2% of the population in the U.S. and they're 2/10 of the population of the whole earth.
Yes.
But yet they have consolidated most of the power in the earth.
Right.
Yes.
Through their media empires and things like that. All right? Go ahead, read that.
The book of Job, chapter 9 and verse 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked.
The earth's given into the hand of the wicked. They're the ones that are moving and say, like Chappelle said, there's a lot of Jews. Like a lot. Bro, that thing, I can watch that over and over, bro, and I'm going to crack up every time he delivers that line, bro. Like, come on. Go ahead, read it again.
The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he?
That's what you were saying before, earlier. Where and who is he? Mm-hmm. Who is this person? He says he covers the faces of the judges thereof. How? And all those go with the secret plots, the crafty counsel, the raging that they had, the tumult that they make, and the confederacy that they formed to push this agenda forward. And you see it in the way the hammer has come down on anybody that's tried to speak out against it. Nick Cannon was another one that was saying something about it.
That's right.
They freaking, they like castrated all of them.
Yeah.
They castrated all of them.
Took away his baby, wilding out. How you gonna take wilding out away from Nick Cannon? Come on now.
I know.
He didn't own it.
Well, that goes to those contracts, like Chappelle said.
Yep, he didn't own it.
Right.
He thought he I'm pretty sure he went in there. I am wilding out. They said, oh, yeah?
All right.
Canceled.
Hey, and when we looked at that definition that you brought out earlier, it basically goes into, them having that endless stream of income over them, and the people like Nick Cannon and all the other celebrities are capped. Yep. They don't have access to all that money.
No. It goes into how they take the insurance out on the rappers. Hey, you ever seen Cadillac Records?
No.
Yes.
Oh, do you remember, Soldier, when he was asking, there was a scene where he asked for Muddy Waters, says, oh, what about that check from that album? He said, "Oh, you got the car."
Yes.
He was giving him stuff. He gave him a
Right.
car. He gave him suits. He gave him things, so on and so forth.
That's all a part of that
Right.
perpetuity.
And he's like, you got to read your contract. I didn't pay for that. They giving you this, and you thinking the company paid for it. They took it from what they were gonna pay you.
What they owed you.
Right.
Right.
And that becomes like a tax write-off for them, right? And they line itemize it a certain way. It becomes a tax burden for you, right? And now you say, where's your money? New Edition, the New Edition series that they did.
Damn.
When they had Michael Rappaport, of all people, was their first manager when they was in the projects, right? And one of the mothers for one of the brothers in New Edition was beasting because their check was like 28 cents when they came off a tour, like $1. And they had a whole meeting with them. And he was like, look, how do you think we pay for the tour buses? How do we pay for this? How do we pay for all this other stuff?
Wow.
And
It
they
comes
was
from
out
their
there
earnings.
living it up, not
And
realizing
they were
that
living it up,
they're getting nickel and dime.
benefiting from all of it. And what it was now they deduct that off of what they paid them.
Right.
So all that type of stuff is baked in.
Right.
They just wealthy house Negroes.
Right.
They're Steven from Django.
For those that don't understand, like when you see those rappers with the jewelry, with the all that other stuff, it's either rented or their record label has deducted that from what they actually owe them.
Yep. So that's how they do it. That's how they break it down. So we said secret pops and popular persuasion. What were you gonna say?
Nick Cannon, actually, now I forgot, I did see this earlier this week. He defends Kyrie Irving and he says, I know for a fact that Kyrie Irving is not anti-Semitic. And he goes into it, he speaks, and he defends him to a point.
But the thing is, that's the most that they can say.
Yes.
Right? But this is why, listen, I mean, this is not new. When Kendrick was out, leadership was saying, you don't got to be the voice.
Yes.
You don't got to be, there's other ways that you can fund and push this truth. There's doors you can open and things like that. You don't got to put your stuff on the line like that.
Right.
I mean, unless you're going to be serious about repenting, and you're going to take whatever you got and put that to good use. Anyway, secret plots and popular persuasions. Let's run this back. Go ahead.
Yours is a voice of criticism we don't often hear in the United States. Often when there is dissent expressed in the United States against policies of the Israeli government, people here are called anti-Semitic. What is your response to that as an Israeli Jew?
Well, she's not even talking about individuals. No. She says when people are against the policies of another country, which is what supposedly their whole global NATO world economy is built on, she says they'll say that's anti-Semitic. We can bomb who we want to bomb. We can mutilate who we want to mutilate, take whatever land and draw whatever lines we want to draw in the land that was stolen to give to us to place here. And if you say anything against it, it's anti-Semitism. There is no other nation or group of people in the earth that can take a one-word thing and go with that, and it shuts all types of things down.
That's heavy.
But look at Russia.
Right.
And the way Russia's rolling.
Oh, man.
And everybody talking crap about Russia
like
right now.
They're demonizing Russia.
Right,
Heavy.
and they're demonizing them. But if it was the Israelis doing that, anti-Semitic. Be quiet. Be quiet. You're anti-Semitic. That's what they would say.
Right.
Go ahead.
Anti-Semitic. What is your response to that as an Israeli Jew?
Well, it's a trick. We always use it. When from Europe somebody is criticizing Israel, then we bring up the Holocaust. When in this country people are criticizing Israel, then they are anti-Semitic. And the organization is strong and has a lot of money, and the ties between Israel and the American Jewish establishment are very strong.
So when she says it's a trick, that's the secret plots, that's the popular persuasions, that's the crafty counsel. And if you bring this up to today, because this is very old, when she says they're powerful and they're strong and they have a lot of money, that's the ADL. That's the ADL. Yes. That's the SPLC.
Yes.
All right. They take names that seem like they're inclusive, but their real agenda is to continue these popular persuasions, right? Especially the Anti-Defamation League. I mean, SPLC is just as bad, but the Anti-Defamation League is chaired by, is run by right? So is SPLC, but their main emphasis, they try to make it seem, because where's the Anti-Defamation League when George Floyd thing happened?
Exactly.
Where's the Anti-Defamation League with Breonna Taylor, right? I don't know if they were. Where are they for all? And the list goes on and on and on and on of all these names. Where are they?
Black Lives Matter is our anti-defamation.
Right. And what is Black Lives Matter? It's a homosexual, liberal agenda.
Money making scheme.
Money making scheme. Right. We never brought that out.
No, we haven't brought
with
that
the
out.
Candace Owens thing. Damn.
Yo.
I've been throwing stuff in the chat and we just haven't gone over it. Wow.
Woo.
Go ahead.
Well, and the American Jewish establishment are very strong, and they are strong in this country. As you know, they have power, which it's okay. They are talented people, and they have power, money, and media, and other things. And
Stop. Do you see
said
her face?
media.
Do you see her face as she's listening to her?
Wide open.
She's like,
mouth
oh,
is wide open.
snap.
Right.
Go back a little.
Bro, that's the scripture where it talks about their tongue falling upon themselves.
Yes. Right.
That's what's happening here. She's a former Israeli minister, Shulamit Aloni. What were you? Well, go ahead. What
She said we have power, we have media. So that's the mouth of the dragon,
Yep,
popular
that's the mouth of the
persuasion,
dragon. That's the power.
ADOL, SPLC. She said we got power, we got media, we're strong.
Yep. And this is why I get so pissed when I see knuckleheads come in the chat, go on the comments talking about, oh, you guys are light skinned, you not this, you not. First of all, you Judah.
Right.
And they mad because you light.
Right.
All right. You look like Steph Curry.
Yeah, all the time.
So right, I mean, he Judah, right? And they just got this blanket thing. You're falling into this BS.
They have
The Willie Lynch letter in full effect.
Right, exactly. Go ahead.
power, which it's okay. They are talented people, and they have power, money, and media, and other things. And their attitude is Israel, my country, right or wrong, the identification. And they are not ready to hear criticism. And it's very easy to blame people who criticize certain acts of the Israeli government as anti-Semitics, and to bring up the Holocaust and the suffering of the Jewish people. And that justify everything we do to the Palestinians.
Damn, that
She
justifies.
said that justifies everything we do to the Palestinians.
Right.
Wow.
Can I get a scripture?
Bring it out.
Give me Obadiah 1, and I'll get straight to the point. Verse 2. Obadiah 1 and 2. Because what the other comedian, Amalek, said, Jewish lady said, she said, we're 2/10 of the population in America, 2/10 and something about the world. She's right about that. And what this is going over to, watch this. Go ahead.
The book of Obadiah, verse 2. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen.
Yes, you are small. You're not the Jews, because the Jews, the real Israelites, are the sandals.
2/10
Right.
of the world population,
Yes.
2% of the U.S. population.
Yes.
Small among the rest of the heathen.
Small among the heathen. So she was right on that. Go ahead.
Thou art greatly despised.
And something this minister said, she said, we're not ready to hear criticism. And that's what the scripture says. You are greatly despised. And what you do when you're despised and someone talks about you, oh, the Holocaust. Oh, anti-Semitism. We're not ready to hear. Our organizations are strong. We're not ready to hear no criticism. And it justifies what we do to Palestinians. You are greatly despised.
Man, did we download that? Because I don't know how that link is still up, bro. And with this new stuff going on, that thing needs to be downloaded and archived, bro. I see, I'm going to say that, but nobody's going to take the initiative and do it, though.
I got you.
Oh, okay. All praises. All praises. El burro got it. El burro. Let's go to the Jon Stewart thing. Let's go to the Jon Stewart article. Go ahead. Read it from the top. Officer.
Jon Stewart defends Dave Chappelle from charges of anti-Semitism. Shut it down. In the wake of his very good friend's Sunday Night Live monologue, America's spokes-Jew had a spirited debate with Stephen Colbert about supposed efforts to penalize him.
Right. So they say he's the spokes-Jew, Jon Stewart. Okay, go ahead.
The last time Jon Stewart was on The Late Show, he ended up getting some pushback from his old friend Stephen Colbert when he went all in on the conspiracy theory that COVID-19 emerged from a Wuhan lab.
Right, but it's not a conspiracy theory. They confirmed later that it's true. Go ahead.
So when Stewart returned Tuesday night, the two men made sure to assure viewers that there is no beef between them. but they clearly enjoy a healthy debate, and they found another big one to get into this time. It began with a conversation about the casual anti-Semitism that seems to be bubbling up in recent weeks, with Stewart saying it was bittersweet to see the Jews trending on Twitter under sports.
Stop. So, they use the term casual anti-Semitism, and anti-Semitism depends on where you go, a bunch of different definitions, all right? But I'm going to go with this one that they put on Wiki, and it says anti-Semitism is hostility to, prejudice towards, or discrimination against Jews. Nothing that anybody has said, not from Ye to Kyrie to Chappelle, falls under that. It was not hostile. It was not because prejudice is you're prejudging.
Right.
There's a body of work for them to be judged on,
right.
All right? Or discrimination against. How is that discrimination? That goes back to the British Elamite comedian that he says it's impossible for us. They say that's reverse racism. And he says that's impossible because we have no power to... How can you discriminate? How can the black Hispanic community discriminate against Jews?
Right.
What platform do we have?
Right.
We're shut down at every corner. I'm running the risk of talking about this on the show of being shut down.
Right.
Yes.
What platform do we have to be discriminatory? But, like Chappelle said, you could say nigga with impunity. And nobody got anything to say about it. Nobody's standing up to say any... Well, the Israelites will.
Right.
But nobody... Where's our ADL?
Nobody says restore.
Right. Anyway, go ahead. Keep reading the article.
It began with a conversation about the casual anti-Semitism which seems to be bubbling up in recent weeks, with Stewart saying it was bittersweet to see the Jews trending on Twitter under sports after Kyrie Irving echoed Kanye West's anti-Semitic comments, which for us is nice, he joked. Look as our spokes-Jew, we hear you. He continued, going on a riff about how he wasn't on the committee that got West's Adidas deal killed. In terms of controlling, obviously, the world's sorry, he added. But it is my sincere hope that in my lifetime I do get to see a Christian president. I think America's ready for it.
So he's just trying to be funny.
Yep.
Go ahead.
The discussion got really interesting when Stewart brought up his very good friend, Dave Chappelle's monologue on Saturday Night Live this past weekend. He dismissed out of hand the notion that Chappelle normalized anti-Semitism.
Right, so remember, they call this guy the spokes-Jew. He said he just dismissed it. He said he didn't do anything to normalize anti-Semitism with his jokes. Come on.
With his jokes. I don't know if you've been on comment sections on news articles, but it's pretty fucking normal.
Right, so he's saying that it's out there. Like,
Yeah.
that is what Chappelle meant when he said you can't blame black America for it.
Right.
You cannot make this like you're so shocked and brought back and put it all on the brothers that were bringing awareness to some things.
Right.
You cannot. That's the encompassing exactly what Chappelle was saying when he said that comment. Go ahead.
He said, anti-Semitism is incredibly normal, but the one thing I will say is I don't believe that censorship and penalty are the way to end anti-Semitism or to not gain understanding. I don't believe in that.
Because, look, Bo, he's just acknowledging that that's their tactic. He's confirming what Aloni said. It's a trick. This is what we use whenever it comes up, right? Come on.
After joking that a better punishment for Irving would be sending him to the Knicks. Stewart added,
leave my Knicks alone.
In all seriousness, penalizing somebody for having a thought, I don't think is the way to change their minds or gain understanding. He said, people think this. People think Jews control Hollywood.
There's a lot of Jews.
People think Jews control the banks. And to pretend that they don't and to not deal with it in a straightforward manner, we will never gain any kind of understanding with each other.
Do you realize what he just said? To stop scrolling.
Thank you.
And to not deal with it in a straightforward manner, right? No, he says, and to pretend that they don't.
Right.
He said people think Jews control Hollywood, people think Jews control the banks, and to pretend that they don't.
Right.
Meaning he's saying they do.
Yes.
He's saying they do. But they won't say he's anti-Semitic.
Right.
Just like Kyrie said, I can't be anti-Semitic. Because they can talk about it, right? Hey, and I understand that sentiment.
Right.
Because I could talk crap about my family all I want. But if you talk crap about my family, right? That's how it used to be anyway. Now I'm in the truth. I know who my family is. So when I say family now, I'm talking about my family here.
Right.
The nation. I could talk crap about my family, but you don't got a right to talk crap about my family if you're not part of the family. So he's actually saying what the real Jews were saying, Ye and Kyrie and everybody else, all right? And nobody's going to come after this guy.
No.
Nobody's going to come after him. Anyway, read that line again. He said,
people think Jews control the banks. What happened when they with Kanye West or Ye?
They kicked him out of Chase.
They got some kind of control over these banks.
Yeah, they sure do. Go ahead.
People think Jews control the banks, and to pretend that they don't and to not deal with it in a straightforward manner.
He's just saying, bro, just bring it out. Come on.
We will never gain any kind of understanding with each other.
But those of us in the scriptures, we read that in Job 9:24.
Right.
We read that in 1 Ezra 5, right? Go ahead, come on.
Then it was Colbert's turn to push back. While he said he believes any comic has a right to say whatever they want, viewers also have a right to have a negative reaction to what people say on stage.
That's fine. But that's viewers. Viewers don't have power. See, you have the right to have a negative reaction, but you don't have a right to try to cancel a man's living.
Right.
You don't have a right to try to cancel an individual.
To attack him.
To attack him. And not just attack him, but to attack him to the extent that you're demanding that he gets punished, that he gets taken down, that he goes to sensitivity training, and all that stuff. Insane. Go ahead.
When Stewart said that reflexively naming things anti-Semitism is as reductive as some of the things they might be saying, and immediately shuts down a conversation. Colbert explained that people, including this writer, perceived a promulgation even with the comedic intention of anti-Semitic tropes. That doesn't mean the person is an anti-Semitic. Stewart defended Chappelle by saying that comedy plays with tropes and comics rely on those tropes as a shorthand for our material.
Right. And, the headlines, I don't know if there's anything else on that. Keep going. You can scroll now. Thanks. Go ahead.
The two friends continue to go back and forth on the issue, with Stewart ultimately arguing that if we all just shut it down, then we retreat to our little corners of misinformation and medicine.
He said it's misinformation. When he's basically saying that when you try to shut everything down by saying anti-Semitism is misinformation.
Right.
Go ahead.
And it mesticizes, and the whole point of all this is to not let it mesticize and to get it out. Metastasize, and to get it out in the air and talk about it. To break the tension, he brought it back to a joke, telling Colbert, like I know you don't like Jews. I see it in your eyes. After a long pause, Colbert joked back, really just one of you. On a more serious note, Stewart told the host, I know you disagree with this. I don't disagree with you, Colbert assured him. I just want to say that I condemn anti-Semitism in all its forms, and I stand with my friends in the Jewish community.
So, that was funny. He used Chappelle's line,
right?
That he used at the beginning, and he said that. But I just thought it was really telling how you have one comic, right, who's obviously not as famous as Jon Stewart, and she's gonna say, "Yeah, I felt uncomfortable." I mean, she was a contradiction on that thing.
Very.
No, I laughed. Just some things made me uncomfortable.
He just he missed the mark a little.
Yeah, he missed the mark a little, and then here he's like saying, "Hey, like it was not anti-Semitic at all," which it wasn't.
Right.
Which it wasn't. All right. Get me the TikTok. Let's watch this. I saw this today. I thought it was some good points here. Bo, what are you doing? Click play on the TikTok.
Getting the disclaimer, sir.
Getting the disclaimer.
Oh, damn. How long does it take to get the disclaimer? I sent this a while ago.
I saw Candace Owens doing something as well like this, where she was talking about Kanye West's comment wasn't anti-Semitic.
Mm-hmm.
We ready? Let's go.
But I'm with Mike on like, really? Jews run Hollywood is the best you can do
hold on.
at the top of your craft?
I love that you said that because
Stop.
the joke
It was brilliant. His opening monologue was brilliant.
Right.
He said that's the best you could do at the top of your craft. Would you have preferred that he did derogatory jokes like he did on Chappelle Show all those years? Would that have been great? He's at the top of his craft?
Hey, sing us a song.
Right, sing us a song. Come on.
You get a group of black people, it's a gang.
It was a funny joke.
It's a group of Italians, it's a mob. You get a group of Jewish people, and it's
a conspiracy, and we can't talk about it.
It's a coincidence, and we shouldn't talk about it, right? So the implication when people say, oh, that's an anti-Semitic joke, is that, yeah, also groups of black people are gangs, and groups of Italians are the mob. All three of those things are examples of stereotypes that people barter on that aren't true. But the only part that people found to be offensive was the part where referring to the Jewish community.
Right, that's a good point.
That to me is the genius, is to make you jump up and say, I object to that joke.
See, he's brilliant. Stop. Damn. He brought it all the way out.
Right.
Bro, he thoroughly thought out that monologue, I'm telling you.
Right.
To prove his point of what he was saying. The reaction that is happening now proves the point of what he's saying.
Damn.
Go ahead.
Go back a little. Can you go back a little or no?
Bro, between that and then the
Right
part
there.
that you pointed out about the and Jew and how he didn't say that in the man, yeah, well thought out.
Right. Notice he didn't say, and he said you see a group of Jews. He didn't say the Jews.
Right.
That aren't true.
Go ahead.
But the only part that people found to be offensive was the part where referring to the Jewish community. That to me is the genius.
Stop.
Is to
Right. Nobody said, damn, Chappelle, why are you saying a group of black people are gangs?
Right.
Damn.
Why you say a group of Italians are the mob?
Yeah.
They didn't say that.
Right.
That means that they agree with that. But all he said about a group of Jews was that it's a coincidence.
And everybody's like,
didn't say nothing stereotypically about it.
No, he says stereotypes about blacks being a gang.
Yes.
He said a stereotype about Italians being a mob.
Uh-huh.
And that wasn't. There's nothing wrong with that. Damn.
Go ahead.
You jump up and say, I object to that joke.
It's a good joke.
And I object to that joke because of that line, that punchline right there. But I don't object to the setup.
Yeah,
What's the line stat, Mike?
It's a good joke. Nazis didn't march in Charlottesville and threaten violence against Italian people.
I asked for lions, not Nazis.
Stop.
You know what I mean?
So he says he's talking about the Edomites that went there with the tiki torches, right? And he says basically he's marginalizing black people. That's anti-Semitic because we are Israelites.
That's right.
We do come from Shem. That's anti-Shemitic what he just said.
Right.
Within him trying to defend that it was a bad joke, that it was anti-Semitic what he said when he said a group of Jews is a coincidence, he just basically said, well, the blacks don't have anything to deal with.
Damn.
Because that's what he's saying. He's using the example of the one thing where those freaking Edomites went out with the freaking tiki torches.
Yes.
To say that that's how the other thing. So he just marginalized everything that black people go through. Or Italians, if you want to go with that. I mean, I'm not going to go with that. But he just marginalized anything that we go through as a people by saying that. And I like what this guy says at the end. But anyway, go ahead. Run it back a few so we hear what the last guy said.
That punchline right there, but I don't object to the setup.
Yeah,
What's the lion
it's
stat,
a good
Mike?
joke. It's a good joke. Nazis didn't march in Charlottesville and threaten violence against
I asked
Italian
for lions,
people.
not Nazis.
You know what I mean? Like that. The objection that people have is like right now at this moment is a very dangerous time. There are active threats against synagogues across America.
Absolutely.
There
Absolutely.
are no active threats against groups of Italian people.
Are
right
there
now.
any active threats
Stop.
against groups of
Notice
black
he said
people?
Italians. And then, so he came back. Are there any active threats against groups of black people?
Right.
Sure, you're right. Damn, go ahead. Let me just let him talk because he giving him the rebuttal. Go ahead.
Because I kind of feel like 400 plus years of that has been happening. And I think that's a lot of, again, the kernel of where a lot of this stand-up is coming from for Chappelle. It's like, even when you talk about his jokes about around the trans community, it's the idea that in this country, people will be up in arms about all sorts of worthy causes about prejudices other than black people. Like, well, black people, it's just, you kind of, well, that's,
Stop.
that's
Hey,
just the
listen,
way
and
it
when he
is.
says black people, the unspoken, because listen, I think so-called black people, right, do get too caught up in what's going on with them, and they can't see what has been happening for years with the illegal immigrants,
Right.
and the children in cages still at this day to the border that nobody's talking about anymore. All right? The conditions in Central and South American countries. But I saw it when I was over there. The sanctions, you want to say it's a chip, the mark of the beast? The sanctions on Venezuela to the point that these guys, every country that we went to, there were Venezuelans that were migrating up on foot from Venezuela to try to get here. Not realizing that it's because of here that their country is in the condition that they're in.
Right.
Damn. We interviewed them. That footage will come out, Lord's will, on the documentary. They left their families back there thinking, yo, I'm going to get up here, I'm going to make things happen, and I'm going to be able to send for them. And then they're going to get here, and they're going to experience the same 400 600 years, because it was 1492 for us. And even before that, we say 1492, but we were in captivity from Assyria. 600 years for Northern Kingdom. And they're going to talk about, so when he says that, I'm thinking about, but it's a testament to the crafty council that goes back to what you said, the brotherhood that they're trying to disband, which I kind of glazed over last week because I was just trying to get through it, but I'm going to talk about it today. All right? Go ahead.
But this
there are threats on synagogues. Absolutely. There's also a threat every time there's a cop behind me, Mike.
But I'm with Mike on
Damn.
really?
Damn.
Jews run Hollywood is
That
the
was
best
it. That
you
was
can
it.
do it.
It started all
So
over.
now he changed it.
No, it
he
started. Yeah.
He said, right, every time I get stopped by a cop.
Right.
And you talking about the Nazis marched on whatever. Come on, man.
Damn.
Get the CNN article.
Where was the uproar? Where was the uproar when that Edomite, the Caucasian guy, went and shot up all black people at the supermarket, and then almost shot a white guy? He's like, sorry.
Right.
Well, that's like old news now. They don't even.
Right.
Right.
It's forgotten now.
Yeah.
Right. Come on, read this.
White teacher in Texas fired after telling students his race is the superior one.
Wow. Come on.
A middle school teacher in
Pflugerville.
That's right outside of Austin. Austin's weird.
Yeah.
I mean, no offense to our repenting brothers and sisters there. Austin's weird.
Pflugerville.
I'm sorry, Officer Helez.
Pflugerville.
But I'm not sorry because I told you that to your face. Go ahead.
Has been fired. District officials said Monday after video was posted on social media showing the white teacher tell his students his race is the superior one. Last Friday, November 11th, Pflugerville ISD officials were made aware of an inappropriate conversation a teacher at Bowles Middle School had with students during an advisory class.
Stop. Jump down where it says videos.
Videos of the conversation in question were posted on social media last week. In one video, the teacher can be seen saying on his multiracial class, "Deep down in my heart, I'm ethnocentric, which means I think my race is the superior."
And guess what? God is ethnocentric.
Right.
So you have the right to think that. That's that pomp where they see themselves as God. But the Bible says, who is the one that's ethnocentric?
Right.
And we are ethnocentric for the Israelites' cause. Because God says in Deuteronomy 7:6 that we are above all people. All right? That he chose us to be his peculiar people, a special people unto himself. Go ahead, come on.
As students audibly react both on and off camera. A student off camera asks, "So white is better than all?" The teacher replies, "Let me finish. I think everybody thinks that."
Hey, read Deuteronomy 7 and 6. We're gonna read this. We're gonna read this for the ethnocentric. Because God is ethnocentric. If you want to use that term. Come on.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself.
Here's the difference between when you got these Edomites saying this, the so-called white person saying this, and us. He's saying that. God is the one that said that we are a special people unto himself. It's God that's saying these things, not us. All right, come on.
Be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
God said the Israelites, who are the so-called blacks, Hispanics, native, those scattered, all right, like the scriptures commanded that we would be scattered in our wickedness, all right? According to Isaiah 11:11. You read that in Deuteronomy 4:27, I think. Deuteronomy 32:26 also, okay? It says those are the ones that fit the curses. He says those are the people that are above all people that are upon the face of the earth. God is ethnocentric. Come on, read.
The Lord did not set his love upon you, nor choose you, because you were more in number than any people.
That goes into what we read in Deuteronomy 10 and 22, where he said when you went into Egypt, you were 70 people.
Right.
But when you came out, he goes, and what you're going to be is more than the multitude of the stars in heaven. Come on.
For ye were the fewest of all people. But because the Lord loved you, and because he would keep the oath which he had sworn unto your father.
Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, because in Isaac shall thy seed be called.
And the Lord brought you out with a mighty hand, and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen, from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt.
All right. That's all I wanted on that. So, yeah, God is ethnocentric.
That's
all right.
right.
Go ahead, let's go back. A student off camera asks.
A student off camera asks, so white is better than all? The teacher replies, let me finish. I think everybody thinks that. They're just not honest about it.
And you know, I wouldn't say everybody, but most of the world does think that.
Right.
Hey, and I want to say something on this. I was reading it. And that goes to show you, and she has some truth in it, because in this line only, it says, I think everybody thinks that. They're just not honest about it. Because our sisters want to highlight their hair, and they want to blonde their hair.
Envy now, not the oppressor.
And they envy
None
the
of his
oppressors.
ways, the scripture says.
They envy the oppressors, and they want to be like them, and they want to dress like them, and they want to do everything like them.
Bro, they call it in historically when during the history of the Caribbean and Central and South America, they called Latin America at the time. It was called el blanqueamiento.
Blanqueamiento, yep.
And it was a doctrine of the whitening of the race.
Yes.
That it was seen ideal. And you still have elements of that classism to this day.
And
okay, we even saw elements of it in Guatemala, like the Chapins. Those are supposed to be the more indigenous. There's elements of it in Ecuador. We had this one guy, man, he could freaking talk. We had to like dead him at some point, but we let him speak because he was giving good information. He was indigenous, and he was talking about, you know, he was trying to subtly downplay the Bible. We had to bring it back and, you know, kind of show him that what he's trying to say ain't correct. But he was saying, and we asked him, and he says it on camera, so are they racist against the indigenous? He said, yeah.
Right.
And it's crazy because you see the indigenous in all of them. But there's, and then me and Captain Abiel's arch nemesis from the first trip, that's a conquistador, bro. I'm sorry, I don't care what anybody says. Puerto Rico, we call him, because he all he did was try to get us mad, talking about Puerto Rico. I said, you ain't get me mad. I'm not Puerto Rican. I'm
Ephraim.
I'm Ephraim from the tribe of Ephraim.
Right.
And this Sabbath, me and Officer Issachar were going over La Hora del Poder, the power hour in Spanish. I think I don't know if it's him exactly, but we had a clip from the guy of Wakanda Forever. It looks like him. I can't say it's him for sure. From Namor? Namor? Okay. And he says, you know how many times I've asked to be the guy that goes to university on movies, and he's an actor, and he is also a
oh, you mean the actual actor has
yeah,
said
the
that.
actual actor.
Sorry.
He said I'm an actor and I'm a journalist. I have two careers. And when he told his homie that does the casting and stuff, and gets work for him, he says, what do you mean? Why can't I be the guy that goes to university? Why can't I be the preppy
they're
guy?
typecast.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He says
Leguizamo spoke of that a lot. John Leguizamo.
Yes.
Because he had a pretty good amount of fame, but he was always type. I think there was one movie where he wasn't typecast. Oh, two. Spawn, but he was dressed up like the clown.
Oh wow.
And Executive Decision, with Kurt Russell. He had a small role as a Army special agent that got on the plane, but they got killed in the beginning. If you remember that movie,
Damn.
That's Steven Seagal was in
So
it too.
even
I
that.
think, too. Yep.
And he's saying, you know how many times I've tried to have you be the guy that's successful, the guy that goes to school.
do it.
He said they don't do it.
They don't do
And
it.
you know why? He said because you're brown.
Listen, and I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna tell you something personally. Remind me to tell you about me personally. I want to say something about Denzel first. Denzel Washington, arguably one of the greater actors of this generation.
Right.
Only won an Oscar when he played a stereotypical nooker in Training Day.
Okay.
Damn.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Wow. Because he was that bad, he turned out to be the actor. And then the Edomite was like, no, I got to do right.
That's a heavy statement.
I used to be into acting. I was into musical theater in school, and I was the star of all the shows. I did a couple pilots, never went anywhere. I'm going to give you 2 incidents where I'll tell you, and this reminds me of Lee Guizamo, because I met him one time after one of his shows, and he actually said something to this effect to me as well. One of the reasons, it was not just because he was brown, because obviously I'm not really brown. I'm not white either, if people really know what they're talking about, right? He said the way we speak. I remember him telling me that when I met him. I had got his autograph and stuff after, I think it might be his 2nd or 3rd show. I think the first one I had seen was Mambo Mouth. Anyway, 2 incidents. One, I had auditioned for a SUNY school, State University of New York, for their theater program. And I remember as I was leaving the audition, one of the teachers ran out and spoke to me. And they said, look, you know, I don't know if we want to maybe put you in theater. We liked your monologue so much. Maybe would you consider just a straight acting program? And I was like, well, yeah. But they were like, but do you think you can do a more Anglo voice?
Wow. Straight up like that?
Yes.
Straight up like that?
I remember it vividly to this day, because the whole experience of, remind me to tell you a story one day when I went for the audition. I took a bus up there, and my plan was to come back on the bus on the same day. I got stopped in Buffalo. I was racially profiled because it's only the ignorant of our people that think I'm white.
Right.
White people know that I'm not white.
Right. It's the same with
Right. White people know that I'm not white.
Right.
All right. I've been, not to the extent I do get some white passing like I've gone on the show before, but most of the time
you can tell the difference.
They can tell the difference.
Right.
All right. I got stopped by cops in Buffalo eating my breakfast at Burger King, because they said people run drugs through there, and since I was coming from the Bronx, and there's a lot of Puerto Ricans in the Bronx.
Wow.
So they told me this. It was a horrible experience. Remind me to tell you the story one day. I'm not going to talk about it now. I've been through a lot of shit. Part of my language. I've been through a lot of stuff. And I remember to this day in the hallway, and she was telling me that, right? And she was talking about me speaking more Anglo. Fast forward some years later, I got into the program, but they accepted me into the program, but my grades were not good enough for the actual college to take me.
Okay.
Because I was always playing hooky in school. Anyway, I started taking acting classes privately. And when it was acting classes, and then they also were a talent agency that they got people gigs. And they said, you got a look that's bankable. We can do stuff with you.
Right.
They said, but you sound too much like you're a Hispanic from the Bronx.
Right.
Wow.
And I think that's where I get this stigma where I don't like to watch myself and hear myself, because they used to make me watch footage of myself when I would do monologues and stuff.
To try to retrain
and when I hear myself, and when I hear I heard it. I don't hear it when I speak because I'm just so accustomed to my voice. But when it comes through me through a forum like on the screen, I can hear my accent. I can hear the way I speak.
Right.
Yeah, I can hear it. So I think they put a thing in me to this day that I don't like to hear myself speak through like a video or audio.
The medium.
Yeah, I don't like the medium. Like, I'm fine with my voice as I speak normally, but when I hear myself on playback, I don't like it.
Yeah.
So, but it stems from that. So, going to your point, I went the long way to share a personal anecdote to tell you that is a thing. That's a heavy thing, because
it's war.
my experience with Lee Guizamo, you said now this actor with Namor, and technically he was typecast for this too, because they wanted somebody that looked Aztec, Mayan.
Right.
Yep.
They were looking for that. But it was a very magnanimous role. He was a king.
Yep.
Right? And the movie's some feminist crap.
Yeah,
all right?
I'm sure.
But I do like the Northern Southern Kingdom elements. At the end, they got the picture of the prophecy of the panther and the I forgot what they called them.
Ah, Deke, I ain't seen it yet.
Oh my goodness. Well, too bad for you. You should have went.
Right.
Lose some sleep.
Bring it out.
We all did.
You said that.
We all did.
Said the brotherhood and unity.
At the end, there's a drawing in their city of the Black Panther and the what the hell were they called?
Sharks.
No, they were called something else. I can't
don't
remember
know. I
their
haven't
name.
seen it.
Right, but they were basically Northern Kingdom, and they showed the slavery. They showed the Spanish colonists.
Wow.
They killed his mom, bro. It was wild. It was wild. But they messed it up because they got like, how's she gonna beat up Namor? Like, it don't make no sense. But anyway, that's it. I really didn't spoil much for you than what's already been out there, soldier. You be all right.
Nah.
No, but going back to this, so it says, let me finish. She says, this is the teacher. I think everybody thinks that. They're just not honest about it. And she has some truth because that war of blancamiento, that war of
It's still here.
whitewashing.
And the blancamiento so strong that you know what they call it today? Colorism.
Yes.
Yeah.
Colorism.
They call it colorism.
I was gonna say, why,
But it's actually whitewashing.
Yeah.
why does everybody think that? It's because, like what you're saying,
Because it's
they
war.
cover the faces of everybody that we think of when it comes to God, superior. All what the true
stuff is propagated
Right.
continually.
Right.
And they do it again. The popular persuasions is, all the superheroes are white. It shouldn't have to be such a big deal when a superhero's a hero of color.
Exactly.
Mermaid.
Well, Little Mermaid is black.
Look at that. I know Bishop went over that, right?
When 007 was going to be black.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Dave Chappelle talked about that too, when he was talking about like the different types of heroes.
Yep.
And he mentioned like the gay hero and all that. He mentioned all that stuff.
They do all that stuff. Yep.
So,
what else were you gonna say?
I forgot. I lost my train of thought.
Damn,
Like,
man.
it just
I'm
went
sorry.
like that,
Go
bro.
ahead, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
After some other discussion in the video, a student asked, "You said you are racist, right?" "I did, yeah. I'm trying to be honest," the teacher replied.
Hey, somebody said, I'm sorry. He liked the part where Namor tells Princess Shuri, "Let's burn it together," right? Like that made me think of is it a Jeremiah or Isaiah? I always get them confused. Where it says, "I'll bend the bow with Ephraim."
Fill it right.
Right. I'll bend the bow with Judah. Fill it with Ephraim.
Yeah.
But her going against them shows, to me, that made me, and I haven't really done a commentary with y'all. We went to see it, and I haven't really spoken about it. It made me think of the hate we get on the show.
Right.
Or when I'm doing a Sabbath class. Captain Yadin's one of the main moderators. He has to block so many people sometimes because, I catch it with my eye here and there after the fact or whatever, or people tell me.
Yep.
And they go in on, who's this Edomite, who's this or whatever. And like I said, it don't bother me anymore.
Right.
Like, just in the beginning, maybe a little bit. I'm sure in what I know, right? My spirit beareth witness, right? With the spirit of the scriptures that I am an Israelite, okay, from the tribe of Ephraim. And the northern kingdom is who the Bible says they are and what we're teaching today. But I see all those things, right? And that moment where she went against them, to me, that's like a similitude of kind of the pushback that we see today. That's the casting the bands asunder.
Yeah.
So that we won't unify.
The whole
right?
the whole time.
Now, and listen now, and normally is Judah, that's the obviously based on prophecies, the hands, the neck, and the enemy.
Right.
But the whole fact that she didn't want to receive him, whatever the reason they used for it in the movie, is because she had the ideals of the world of, no, we don't kill, no, we don't do that,
Caesar
or whatever.
Bowl.
Right.
Yeah.
That Caesar Bowl type of spirit.
Yeah.
And the people who are Southern Kingdom, who have something against us because we're light skinned, they have Caesar Bowl.
Yeah.
And they'll say, no, I believe in Black Christ. I believe we are the Israelites. But it's a Caesar Bowl doctrine to cast the bands asunder.
Right.
So when you're anti who the Bible says the tribes are, you have Caesar Bowl in your spirit.
Right.
And so that part where they wouldn't, where she didn't want to unite with him, and she kept fighting against him, showed me what was what. You
That's
know?
heavy.
Damn.
Yeah.
What vexed me is when he said, all this could have been avoided. And that, bro, literally, they did not have to fight. They didn't. Bro, we could, if y'all just from jump would have been like, come on, let's actually handle business against who is doing us dirty. We'd be all right.
Right. Let me tell you, it would have been a great movie. It was good. I thought it was good. I didn't think it was whack. I thought it was good. It would have been a great movie if he was still alive and it was him that he was talking to, like, let's unite.
Right.
Because at least it would have been a man against a man, you know? Because at the end, they did kind of unite, you know?
Right.
And he said, look, It's kind of like when they were gonna go fight against the Northern Kingdom, and he said, "Don't, because this is of God." Right?
Yes.
At the end, but in reverse, when he was like, when his follower, the female, was upset with him, and he was like, "Don't worry," and that's when they showed a shot that he was standing in front of.
Right.
He said, "They're gonna need an ally." He said that the most powerful person on the land and the most powerful country is up there, and they have no allies. And he says, when the time comes, he says they will be attacked and they will try to take their resources from them. He said, and they're going to need an ally, and that's when they're going to come to us. It was me asking them. They're going to come to me now to ask.
That's heavy.
Well, the Power Hour has now turned to the Wakanda Forever commentary.
Right. No, we're going to move on because I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't seen it. But they took the opportunity to make it a feminist thing, bro.
Yeah.
They took the opportunity to... There's no way she was beating that dude, bro. I don't care what the hell. They just made it so... Woman power. Goodness.
Woman king.
Right. And woman, remember, a woman's power is in the man having power. There's
That's
no
right.
glory for the sisters until the men get their glory. All right?
That's right.
Read that. Let's get back on topic to this. Come on.
It is unclear what was discussed before and after the recording of the videos. CNN has not identified the person or people who filmed the videos circulating online and has not obtained.
I'm sorry, jump down. In the audio.
In the audio, a student asked the teacher to repeat himself. The teacher says, "I said I am a racist. That's what I said. Do you know what that means?"
Damn, come on.
Students' responses overlap, and the teacher continues. "It means that deep down in my heart, I think my race is the superior race. That's what it means to be a racist." The teacher in question has not been identified by PFISD, nor has the district provided any additional context surrounding the conversation. We want to reiterate that this conversation does not align with our
I don't
core.
need to read that. Keep scrolling. Let me see if there's anything else out there. That's it. Yep. All right, I'm going to try to get into some scriptures for the remainder of this. We'll see where we jump around. I know there's more stuff. I don't know if I sent more stuff. I know. I look at all those tabs. There's so much more stuff that I got.
Well, you touch a lot of them. You touch a lot of the that one.
No, we can't do that one. No, you know why we can't do that one today? Because I have an excerpt from the book about the invention of the white race, and we can't do it. And I think that's the author who's talking of that book. But I have a PDF of the excerpt, and I haven't really read it fully, so I want to use elements from that. So Lord's Will Life Last. We'll talk about that next week. All right, we'll talk about that next week, and we'll see how that goes. And that video will be up next week. What else we got up there? We can run that back later.
Michael Jackson.
Which one was this one?
About he says, "Do me,
oh,
do me."
No, not yet. Not yet. What else we got? Oh man, no, no. That's gonna take me somewhere else.
That one's good.
No, we did the definitions. I don't think we'll need the wikis.
Yep.
Okay, all right. So, all right.
You got some images, and you got the Northern Kingdom, the one about the land the Afro historic.
Oh yeah, you know what? Okay, because that goes into the blancamiento a little bit. So we can watch that. That's 3 minutes, and then I'm gonna do some scriptures. I'm gonna do like 2 scriptures, and I'll have to run this back because I got just on this little thing. I got all these scriptures that I was writing, and then I gotta run these back. So I didn't get to it.
The ball's on your court.
The ball's in my court. Let's watch this clip right here. Yes, to be continued. We're gonna have to do it to be continued. I will continue it. I'm committed to continuing it. You know what it is? Some of the other stuff is like volumes of stuff. Like it's not gonna be 2 or 3 shows. This could be tidy in like 3, maybe 1 more show.
That's all we need.
Yeah, maybe 1 more, and I think I'll get everything covered that I want to get covered potentially. Unless something else comes out that I gotta talk about. Because if we didn't talk about the Chappelle stuff, I probably would have got through everything.
Yeah.
But that came up. But I'm not gonna let the thread go. We're not gonna leave a leg out. We're gonna wrap this up. All right, just not today.
Unlike most of the African diaspora in the so-called New World, the history of Afro-Puerto Ricans does not begin with slavery, but with the arrival of African men called libertos, who served alongside Spanish conquistadors in taking over the island of Puerto Rico. One of the descendants of these first free African men was Francis Gallego, who was known as the first entrepreneur of African descent.
Can I ask a
in
question
Puerto
real
Rico.
quick? So they had Africans or even Judah, because that would be Judah, right? Help conquer Ephraim.
Yes.
Just like they had Judah help conquer Gad.
Yes.
Whoa there.
Yes. Yeah. But as it turns out, we wound up being tight.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
So
You're talking about in this right here?
I think he mentions that we wound up kind of being all right after a time, but it started that way.
That's wild.
Yeah. Go ahead.
The Libertos were Christianized and spoke Spanish fluently. The Libertos had the freedom to move about and seek economic opportunities on the island of Puerto Rico. By 1820, there were about 104 free Libertos in San Juan, the capital of Puerto Rico today. Though they outnumbered the Spaniards, opportunities for them to gain equal rights were limited. During this time, they primarily lived in restricted areas and were not able to choose freely their occupations.
So stop. Much like today.
Yeah, I'm like in the ghetto.
Right. It's much like today, right? Go ahead.
Have access to social institutions. Even though they were able to use their legal position to acquire some wealth, they still experienced racial discrimination. The primary reason African slaves were brought into Puerto Rico was because the original Taino population was being decimated as a labor force.
Stop. So, right. So they wound up bringing, and that's the primary reason they say logically that it happened. We know that was of the Most High.
Right.
They was like, all right, I'm going to bring y'all back together. All right. It's not Taino, it's Taino. My man ain't saying it correctly. In case anybody gets confused, like, what's a Taino?
Right.
More people are more familiar with the traditional pronunciation of Taino, okay? He's going to talk about Bartolome de las Casas now. I think that's him, all right? So go ahead.
Bartolome de las Casas, who had accompanied Ponce de Leon to the new island of Puerto Rico, was outraged at the Spanish treatment of the Taino Indians, and in 1512, he protested to the Spanish court. He fought for the freedom of the natives and was able to secure their rights, but the Spanish colonists, fearing the loss of their labor force, also protested before the courts. They complained that they needed manpower to work.
Damn, someone said that out. You know, you right, Nicky Mache. He said no different than when Judah sold Joseph.
Damn.
Treacherous Judah.
Damn. Run it back a few. Run it back in just a few seconds. Damn. Go ahead.
Unlike the population was being decimated as a labor force.
So stop. So they say that was the reason, and it's true. Like many of us died, Northern Kingdom, due to the rigors, and then they realized this is bad business. We're killing our free labor. All right, let's bring in some reinforcements. Right? Go ahead.
Bartolome de las Casas, who had accompanied Ponce de Leon to the new island of Puerto Rico, was outraged at the Spanish treatment of the Taino Indians, and in 1512, he protested to the Spanish court. He fought for the freedom of the natives and was able to secure their rights, but the Spanish colonists, fearing the loss of their labor force, also protested before the courts. They complained that they needed manpower to work in the mines, build forts, and so on. Ironically, as an alternative, Las Casas suggested the importation and use of African slaves. Thus, in 1517, the Spanish crown permitted its subjects to import enslaved African people. These early enslaved Africans were brought originally to work on the gold mines, even though they also worked on sugarcane plantations.
There were gold mines in Puerto Rico. He said they came to work in gold mines. That's why they call it Puerto Rico.
Wow.
It was rich port.
Right.
There was gold there.
Mines.
They were gold mines. The island had plenty of gold.
Wow.
Have them tell it. We got all excited for trinkets.
Right.
For BS. Right. So there was gold there. Run it back just a few seconds. Like whenever I stop it, just a good idea to go back just a few seconds. Go ahead.
Subjects to import enslaved African people. These early enslaved Africans were brought originally to work on the gold mines, even though they also worked on sugarcane plantations. They became artisans, domestic laborers, ship merchants, and dock workers. Just a short time after their arrival, in 1527, the first major slave rebellion occurred in Puerto Rico, as dozens of Afro-Puerto Ricans fought against the colonists in a brief revolt. A few Afro-Puerto Ricans retreated to the mountains, where they resided as Maroons with surviving.
The Maroons were not just Benjamin. They were not just Benjamin. There were Maroons in Puerto Rico as well. There were Maroons in Puerto Rico as well because of getting back together, marrying within the tribes now. Right? Go ahead.
major slave rebellion occurred in Puerto Rico, as dozens of Afro-Puerto Ricans fought against the colonists in a brief revolt. A few Afro-Puerto Ricans retreated to the mountains, where they resided as Maroons with surviving Tayanos. During the following centuries, by 1873, Afro-Puerto Ricans had carried out more than 20 revolts. Some were of great political importance.
So, you know, I said it, I think, when we did the recap show, we need to stop with the silly dove. Right. Ephraim's going to be roaring like a lion now, okay?
Right.
That's right.
Northern Kingdom going to be roaring like a lion now. We in that great awakening. This information coming out. It cannot be put to sleep, all right? It's not just, that's why I say it's not, last week's show, it's not a black or white thing. You got to understand that it's an Israelite thing, because when you say black or white, you're excluding the bulk of the other tribes. You're excluding the bulk of the other tribes. You're excluding roughly 2/3 of the other tribes.
Right.
So you got to realize the history that's there, the curses, all of that. Someone said, no wonder Ephraim like gold. Damn, that's racist.
I love gold.
I love gold. That was a good one. Stop. Anyway, go ahead. Play it.
Mountains, where they resided as Maroons with surviving Tayanos. During the following centuries, by 1873, Afro-Puerto Ricans had carried out more than 20 revolts. Some were of great political importance, such as the Ponce and Vega Baja conspiracies. Even though the original
Stop. I got a bunch of brothers that are not on the show on the Power Hour chat, and y'all just like what I post, or what like what some of us might post. They said the Baja and the what? We need to look into that. Those revolutions, those slave revolts. Go back a little bit.
I'm looking at some. I'm actually looking at some.
Can I get a research team?
I got you.
Can my research team look this stuff up?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Few Afro-Puerto Ricans retreated to the mountains, where they resided as Maroons with surviving Tayanos. During the following centuries, by 1873, Afro-Puerto Ricans had carried out more than 20 revolts. Some were of great political importance, such as the Ponce and Vega Baja conspiracies.
Stop. The Ponce and Vega Baja conspiracies. Can we research that a little bit? Let's research that a little bit. Thank you. Go ahead.
Even though the original Afro-Puerto Rican was a free man, coming to the island as a soldier, the overwhelming majority of the ancestors of Afro-Puerto Ricans today are descended from enslaved Africans. According to one historian, the exact origin of Afro-Puerto Ricans can be said to be primarily the Gold Coast of Ghana, Nigeria, and the African state of Dahomey, many of which coming from the Yoruba and Igbo ethnic group.
So stop. You know, with the Yoruba and the Igbo, Ephraim was amongst there. Okay, which one is it? It's Yoruba, right? I think Igbo's Judah. Igbo's Judah.
Yeah.
Soldier Michael, you know, right? Which one is it?
Soldier Michael's Levite. I'm just kidding.
No, stop.
I just asked him.
He shouldn't. It's Igbo that's Judah, right?
Igbo is Judah, yes.
And
sir.
Yoruba is Ephraim, right?
Right.
Okay. So it's remember, we gotta get the stereotypical of what a lot of Northern Kingdom look like today. That happened because of El Blancamiento, all right? We all looked the same, basically, or close to it. Northern Kingdom was in captivity for a lot more years than Judah was. So this is why sometimes Northern Kingdom look like Ishmael, sometimes Northern Kingdom look Moab. I always talk about the one dude he looked straight Japanese. His moms were Japanese, but he was Ephraim. Damn. Right?
Oh, you know what?
In the Bronx camp. It's a clip from Bronx camp from years back. All right?
There's a coworker that I have that
right, Yoruba is Ephraim. So Ephraim came back with Ephraim, but Judah also was in the mix as well. Okay? Go ahead. Was that it on that? Okay. All right. So, one of the things I wanted to tie it in a little different when I read it, but we'll run it back because next week I'll probably be able to set this up and go through it straight through with the scriptures like I wanted to. All right. I want to make a point. Let's read Acts 15 and 7, and then we're gonna jump to 14. Because and the point that I wanted to do this in, and I'm chopping it up. The continuity's not good. This is why I'm saying I'll probably run some of these scriptures back, some of the ones from last week back, some of what we went over today back, because it needs to kind of stay together for me to make the point that I'm trying to make when when I was talking about how the light skin speak. All right. Acts 15. Everybody loved that title. The comments, people were going with it.
Yeah.
Acts 15 and 7. Let's read that.
The book of Acts, chapter 15 and verse 7. And when there had been much disputing, Peter rose up and said unto them, Men and brethren, ye know how that a good while ago God made choice among us, that the Gentiles by mouth should hear the word.
The Gentiles by my mouth
should hear the word of the gospel and believe.
Right, so he's referring to Acts 10, all right, when he met Cornelius. Mm-hmm. So you read Acts 10, Acts 11, there was a disputation. So he's referring to that incident here, all right? And he says the Gentiles. Now, this isn't this is why, again, when I have the opportunity to broadcast, I'm going to do it, and I definitely want to do it in Spanish. I want to go over that prodigal son again because I got a little more history fleshed out with it. The big confusion when you read Gentiles in the New Testament is because you don't understand the history of what happened to the nation of Israel during the split. If you understand the history of the split, then you don't even got to go through all the precepts to say who's the strangers and who's the Gentiles. Right. You'll know who it's talking about because you would not allow for there to ever enter in that there was a change to what God intended.
Right.
So if you know the history, it's very easy. You don't have to jump through hoops and do a whole class on strangers and Gentiles because the history tells you that. And then get me that in Malachi where it says, I changed not. Is that 4:1? Or is it 3?
I got it.
3 and 6.
That's it, 3 and 6.
The book of Malachi, chapter 3 and verse 6. For I am the Lord. I change not.
Right? If you would know the history of the split and what God always promised, there's no way that you would ever allow in when you get to the New Testament. So if not for Christianity, if not for the crafty counsel, the popular persuasions, all right, the tumult and the raging that they did, there's no discussion to be had when you're speaking, when you read these things in the New Testament.
Right.
But because of those things, because there's confusion, because you don't understand the Bible. And you're taking it on someone's word, like these so-called apologists, that they have their degrees in theology and seminary and all these other things. And you're taking it on faith, not faith in God, but faith in a man.
Right.
That what they're telling you is correct. Mm-hmm. This is why we are so scripture heavy. You know, one of the things we got that we would dispute about over there when we were traveling was that we were given too many scriptures. They said you're confusing people with too many scriptures.
Wow.
I said, wow, that's how drawn down,
beat
down, how much strength has been taken from you.
They're so used to something, the diluted water. They got real pure water. They don't know what to do with it.
Right.
I've been seeing that a lot where it's like you talk too hard.
I saw it here. I saw some clips here.
Yep.
Where people were saying, oh, yeah, it's too many scriptures. You're confusing people. No. Because now you can see it for yourself. Right. Stop doing the same thing you've done where people just tell you, where it sounds like a pretty song. All right? Now, jump to verse 14. I want to get to my point in this.
The book of Acts, chapter 15 and verse 14. Simeon have declared how God at the first did visit the Gentiles.
Simeon is Peter. When did he declare it? He was just basically restating what he has said in verse 7. Right? Come on.
To take out of them a people for his name. And to this agree the words of the prophets, as it is written.
Right. So when I go over all my scriptures again, because remember I was talking about blasphemy of people in his name. Yes. All right. When I go over that next week, Lord's will, all right, in continuity, you're gonna understand it as a bigger picture. But this is a good kind of leave it with this type of thing, so you can kind of know what to expect. Excuse me. So you can know what to expect for next week's show when we go over it in its entirety, Lord's will. All right. Go ahead.
Verse 16, after this I will return and will build again the tabernacle of David.
Right. So he says, first he starts off and he says that God first did visit the Gentiles to take out of them a people for his name. And then he goes into talking about the tabernacle of David. First clue that it's not talking about other people, right? Come on.
Verse 17, tabernacle of David.
And the point I wanted to make in this is that we have that Facebook video where now some of them, and then you got that other rabbi that's always dealing with the Kemetic community and everything else, where they're trying to say, yeah, the Caribbean, the so-called blacks, people from the slave trade, yeah, you are Israel, but we still are too, is what they're trying to say.
This guy?
Right? This guy. Yeah. They're trying to say that they still are too. But they're not, all right? This kind of goes into that part, all right? And like I said, we'll next week, Lord's will, we'll bring it all together this way, right? Come on.
After this, I will return and will build again the tabernacle of David, which is fallen down, and I will build again the ruins thereof. And I will set it up.
Right, and notice it says God would do it, and God would do it. Not that a declaration would be declared where you would kick out the Palestinians and put in the Israelites. And the Palestinians is not their land either, by the way, all right? But where you would kick them out and put the fake Jews there. You put Israelis there that are converts that we brought out in the Bible dictionary. I'm sorry, in the Who's Who that's written by scholars, that they are descendants of the Idumeans, which was the Greek word for Edom. All right, that they are Edomites. Okay, come on, read.
That the residue of men might seek after the Lord. And all the Gentiles upon whom my name is called, saith the Lord, who doeth all these things.
And Christianity and apologists love to grab this, and they say this is what that means. Let's get Amos 9 and 11, all right? You had wanted to start at 9 last week, though, right, Ashaya?
Yeah, but if we're going to come back, I want to...
We are going to come back.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Do your thing.
All right.
Because I want to go thoroughly to what we were going last week about, you know...
Right. Hey, and you know what? You had some clowns in the chat talking about that the wheats and tares only means Israelites that are like repenting and not repenting. But verse 9 cuts that. But like they tried to call in, they said that Othaniel didn't let him speak because it wasn't about the topic. So he was saying that, they're teaching wrong. We're bringing all this great stuff out, and he wants to go in on that. Verse 9 talks about how he's going to sift the house of Israel among all nations.
Exactly.
That's the same thing like the wheat and the tares, all right?
That's exactly
so,
what Christ
come
said.
on, get out of here, bro. We 1,000 years ahead, right? As far as where we at.
Hey, Psalms 111
right.
and 10.
And listen, don't say that it's arrogant or whatever, because I see those comments too. That's not how we roll around. But when it's necessary, it's necessary that we boast.
Right.
And our teachers have done a wonderful job through the Spirit of the Most High in Christ. Even these other nations will admit about they call it our doctrinal purity, and you want to come with nonsense. Well, trust me, you don't want to bring a knife to a gunfight,
right?
So to speak. All right.
You can't hit what you can't see.
Right.
Hey,
they don't realize they were done a favor by not letting them on.
Right.
Damn.
Say it
again. They were done a huge favor by not getting on.
They were done a huge favor by not getting on. They'd have been embarrassed, bro.
Apply the secret
sauce.
One
scripture. Bro, it would have been one scripture, and I would have just told you disconnect the call. There's no more to go there. What are you talking about, dummy? Anyway, come on. Amos 9 and 11, dealing with what we read in Acts 15. All right? Come on.
The book of Amos, chapter 9 and verse 11. And that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof.
What breaches? The split, the division. Again, next week is going to make more sense when I bring it all together, because we're going to go over just briefly the split, right? Go ahead, come on.
And I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old.
Right. That's not talking about the kingdom of heaven, because the kingdom of heaven is already prepared. The ruins is the ruined people, the decayed, the valley of dry bones. That's us.
Right.
He's going to raise up southern and northern kingdom as in the days of old. Can we put the picture up instead of looking at us while we do this of the T-shirt?
Do it.
All right, do it. Put the picture of the shirt. This is a shirt we sell on OR. The back has Amos 9 and 11. This is rebuilding the ruins.
Right.
The bands asunder. Now you see where some of the scriptures that should have all flowed together. Right. But we're gonna bring it out that way next week. We're gonna bring it out that way next week. This is rebuilding the ruins. This is the way it was in the days of old. Yes, this is what it looks like now, because this is what you see. That's Southern Kingdom. That's Northern Kingdom behind there. So-called Latino-ish looking, right? So-called Gadite looking. And yes, we did it that way because Gadite, typically you don't see them with the beard, right? A lot of them, it's kind of difficult. You don't really see them with beard or even 5 o'clock shadows and stuff like that, right? They cursed in that regard, all right? So this is one of my favorite shirts that we've ever done. It sold pretty well. I don't know why it didn't sell like hotcakes, because that thing is fire. Let me tell you, our people very rarely say, I always wear that shirt for the most part when I travel. It's like a uniform. Like my wife jokes on me. She's like, "Oh, you have certain shirts that you like to wear." I said, "Yeah, like that's a uniform. Like wear something different." I almost always love to wear this shirt because occasionally I will get our people who look at it and say, hey, I like that shirt. That's what's up.
Right.
And that's an opportunity if there's time to speak. But I love the looks that Edom gives me when I wear that shirt. And you know why it's even worse that I'm wearing it? Because I'm light-skinned and they see me wearing that shirt.
Right.
I love it. I love to confound them.
It's like a bunch of question marks, just like
Bro,
pop up over their
it's
head.
the awakening. There's a little bit of fear in their spirit for the ones that are ignorant, and the ones that know. Bro, I rock that shirt, and you see the fake Jews, the Idumeans wearing that, looking at it, and you know they worried. Yeah, there's still some sizes for sale. I'm actually gonna restock on that shirt because that thing gotta be brought out, especially with everything that we're bringing out now,
Yes.
right? And I don't mean just on the show. I mean just period what we're bringing out with this awakening, right? Okay, read verse 11 again. We want 11 and 12.
Yeah, verse 12.
Come on.
Verse 11. In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof. And I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old.
And he will raise up the ruins as in the days of old. Put the picture up. You're looking at me. The people see me enough. Put the picture up. Put the picture up. I'm looking at the screen, and it's me. Leave it up. Leave it up on the picture as we read these last verses, all right? Oh, word. I should do a sweater version. Somebody said that, right?
Yeah.
Like a crew neck sweater. We haven't really sold those, but that might be good. Not a hoodie, like a pullover. Crew.
Ooh.
I think that might be dope. All praises. Thanks for the idea. I think I'm going to do that, all right? As the days of old, close up the breaches thereof, and reunite the southern and northern kingdom. You know what else it says that in the New Testament when it said Christ was here to break down the middle wall of partition.
Right.
That's what it was there for. That's why it said, lo, I turn to the Gentiles. That's why in John 7:35 it said, where will he go? Will he go amongst the dispersed, among the Gentiles, and teach the Gentiles? That's what this is talking about. Read verse 12.
Verse 12. That they may possess the remnant of Edom.
And that's the residue of the people that you read in Acts 15. Now that's talking about the other nations. And it says that we may possess the remnant of them. Come on.
And of all the heathen.
And of all the heathen that you read in Psalms 83, who those heathen are. Come on.
Which are called by my name, saith the Lord that doeth this.
Right, because God gave them biblical names. Not the name of Israel. That goes into the blasphemy. That's why I got to do it all in one piece. Which are called by my name, meaning I named them. But they want to call themselves something different in their crafty counsel. They want to be called other things. They want to blaspheme and take some of them and say that they're the Israelites. I gave them names, and they will be given them names. You know how we always talk about Toby, Kunta Kinte, and that scene? They are going to be broken, and they're going to have to accept their names of Edom, Moab, all right, Ishmael. All those names are going to have to come back upon them when we get the rule again, all right? Anyway, Lord's will.
Hey, Deke, what was that COVID class that you did with this? I remember this from a class you did during COVID, but I can't remember the title.
I don't know. You say the COVID class. I don't know.
I got to go back and find it.
I don't know. Let me know. Let me know if you go back and you find it, okay? Let me go back. Anyway, that's the show for this week, okay? What do we got? English on Saturday?
English.
Saturday, exclusively on Facebook at the 144K. We have the Power Hour, 11 a.m. Arizona time, okay? And that's a little shorter show that the officers do. They bring out different various topics, very edifying stuff. Lord's will next week catch us same time, same bat place. I used to like the old Batman.
Right. Yeah.
Cesar Romero as the Joker. I used to love that. You catch us next week, and we're going to not leave the leg out. We won't leave the thread out. We're going to bring the whole thing together. We got a few more clips that we're going to show, all right? We're going to continue to focus on this awakening, on this whole thing that's going on, and give a little deeper of what's happening there, all right? So Lord's will, y'all got some edification in that.
Did you know there's an obelisk in Puerto Rico?
Oh, but save it for next week?
I got you.
Put it up for next week. Put it up for next week. Bro, there's a lot. There's a lot.
I got you. I'm looking right now.
Look, I'm too busy to do all the research by myself.
I got you.
I'm too busy.
Hey,
Can't do it
also,
all.
before we end, Brother Ephraim did call.
Okay.
And he just wanted to call in and say, hey, keep up the good work.
Hey, all praise to
Brother
the Most High.
Ephraim, shalom.
He's always supporting. I know he get excited there when he watching us. So all praise to the Most High. We appreciate the call in, Brother Ephraim. All right.
Brothers and sisters, don't forget the Booster Club. Very,
Yes.
very important. You'll see it on the screen. Help us. We need your help with your monetary help. IUIC.fundraising at IsraelUnite.org. You see the prophets traveling, going South America, Central America, Africa, Europe, all right? It's definitely very important. Support us on IUIC Phoenix on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, all the good above also.
All praises. Oh, whatever shirts of that Amos are available, originalroyalty.com.
That's right.
Originalroyalty.com. Yep. We Lord's will too. We got some stuff coming through there where we're gonna revamp the website, kind of clean things up a little bit, and we got some different variety type of products that we want to drop as well for everybody. But you can get that shirt there, and I'm gonna go and get on it, and I'm gonna not only will I reorder the shirt, I'm gonna do the sweatshirt.
Get the sweater.
I'm gonna do the sweater. I'm gonna do the sweater. I'm gonna get it done in the sweater.
This year.
Yep. Black, same thing. Just do it in black. Just do it as a sweater. Everybody like black, right?
Yeah.
Black.
You can't go wrong.
You can't go wrong with black. I know we do a lot of the black color, but we can't go wrong with it. Originalroyalty.com. And again, don't forget to support the Booster Club. We have been seeing your donations. All praises to the Most High for that, okay? Don't forget to help us out on IUIC Phoenix, all right? Like and subscribe to the IUIC Phoenix YouTube page. Go to all our socials. Hey, and if you would like, I'm not sure how often you're updating it, we are on Spotify at the Power Hour Plus, all right? So if you would just like to hear an audio of the podcast, all right, when you're driving, whatever it is, you can also get it there, right, on Spotify, all right? So we appreciate it, fam. Thanks for tuning in. Y'all stay safe, stay in the spirit, all right? Most High in Christ bless y'all.
Shalom.
Shalom.
This for the Southern Kingdom, Kwame Sharala. Hey, one nation, one nation. This for the Northern Kingdom, Viva la Raza. We one nation, one nation. This for the Southern Kingdom, Kwame Sharala. Hey, one nation, one nation. This for the Northern Kingdom, Viva la Raza. We one nation, one nation. It wouldn't be Israel without Mexicans. Black love, brown pride, cause we next to kin. We ain't gotta tell Esau to let's be friends, cause we above all nations and we better than them. We the salt of the earth, ayy, ayy. And we been king since birth, ayy, ayy. We put the kingdom first, ayy, ayy. And they gon' get this work, ayy, ayy. We was chosen, not cause we the most of the people. Few in numbers, but we over the people. We gods of this earth, we ain't supposed to be equal. Stop playing, you emotional people. The good gotta triumph over the evil. So my foot's on the throat of the eagle. Their tongues will confess that we the people. Cause my nation ain't never been feeble. For the Southern Kingdom, Kwame Sharala. Hey, one nation, one nation. It's for the Northern Kingdom, Viva la Raza.